Hey, T-Sippers. Hey, T-Sippers. Happy Friday. Y'all ready to get into it? Part 1 today. Are y'all ready to get into it? Let's see what happened in court. Happy Friday. Come on in, come on in. Hey, T-Sippers. You got your tea. We sipping. We sipping. I was listening to that other attorney lady. She okay, but I like Tisa better as far as breaking down what happened in court. I want to hear her first and then hear what the other lady said and listen to Elizabeth. Then we're going to go into some comparison with Ira Kelly. And you know, as I was listening last night about Ira, it seemed like, you know, with this, there is a common denominator. A common denominator. Who y'all think the common denominator is? Who was actively involved with Ira? Hey, Shalithia? Shalithia, did I say it right? Hi, welcome. We're about to go in. Common denominator. Who was common denominator? You know, with the freak offs or the orgies or the wild nights. He looked over some things with Ira when the feds came in, left him hanging, and did the same thing with Diddy. But as long as they was, you know, getting their freak on and getting in where they fit in, playing with underage kids and shit, he was involved. It's a common denominator. Hell, I should have added him to the thumbnail, huh? The ones of y'all who coming in, please hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe. Also, join the membership, support the platform. It's the weekend, baby. Let's go. Y'all ready? Let's hear what old girl saying. Because you know. Hey, Tisa. Shout out to Tisa.
Dan, make sure y'all say thank you to her. Okay, listen, it's the new me, new day. Gotta stand. Let's talk about, y'all, first of all, we gotta talk about what's going on to the court with Diddy. There is a surprise upset, okay? Now, y'all know I'm gonna give it to you straight. Is Diddy going to jail? Baby, 100%. And I find it odd that in the beginning I was saying the feds were doing their job, and so many people were saying, oh my God, T's a lying, T's a lying. And now everybody has come around to what I was saying, right? got hands free, so I can now be extra with it, okay? Now, hear me out on this, right? But y'all know I'm gonna give it straight. If the prosecution has a great day, I'm gonna tell y'all, and the prosecution has had a lot of great days. But if the defense has a great day, we have to talk about it too. Let me talk about them Atlanta people. Brian Still, Xavier, Miss Westmoreland. They are a problem. This is not my, listen, in my perfect world, he would have Mark Agnifilio up there every day. I don't know if Mark Agnifilio is a great lawyer with other stuff. I know that with Diddy, he'd be missing the jury. However, Brian Still, Westmoreland, and Xavier, baby, they are too good. Every time they're up there, I'll be looking like, I hope they sit down. They are too good at what they do. They're too good at instilling doubt in the jury's mind, and I hope to God they don't have to cross-examine anybody else. Arlene, Texas 444, thank you for gifting a membership. When I tell you, Brian Still, Mia, let me just say by saying this. I believe everything Mia's saying. There was too much detail and it corroborated too many stories. But Brian's still on the ones and twos, ripping Mia apart on the cross-examination. Yeah, it's not going good for her. I don't know why Mia just doesn't say, I was a victim of abuse. He had money. I wasn't going to go against him. Instead, she is struggling to explain why a man she said that she was terrified of, she was posting happy birthdays and bragging about being Diddy's assistant, even though she said that every time she was around, she felt terrified and throwing the phone. I'll tell you one thing that was said. LF, what's up? There is spiderweb. LF, thank you so much for the super chat recite right here. Also, Miss Caroline said, girl, we were worried. Glad you're well and doing your thing. We admire your dedication and hard work. Yeah, I got to the courthouse a little late. And once you get to the courthouse, when you stand in line, they make you turn your phone off. But don't worry, I'm going to be on time tomorrow. Potent Ponderance said, we missed you this morning. I missed you guys too. Also, the Sugar Case said, we're ready for the details. Much love from the Sugar Case. Also, Donder Kip Design, thank you so much. Okay, so what do we know, right? Diddy's team, and I'm surprised D-Rock hasn't get indicted, literally tried to on the low, but not too low, bribe Mia into silence. Lady Kiki, thank you so much for the super chat. Welcome to the Tattletales family.
I knew them bribes.
Lady C said, I wish you had your own news show on TV. Speak it into existence. Okay, but let me be serious, right? Diddy's team did a couple of things, right? And Brian Still's too good. Him, Xavier, Westmoreland, please don't let them come up and do another cross because they're too good at what they do. And again, Diddy only needs one juror forever. Diddy only needs one juror. That's it. Only needs one juror. But what was revealed right now? One, Diddy's team, by way of D-Rock, tried to low-key bribe Mia. This might be one of the reasons why he's sitting in jail. On top of that, Diddy chased Mia around his yacht. She was literally hiding in closets, and Kim Porter had to come get her. What else was revealed? Diddy was, first of all, how was Diddy working? Stacey Brown, thank you so much for the super chat. And T. Ronnie said, hey, T said, thanks for your work. Can I get a Yana? What's that, T. Ronnie? Let me tell y'all something. Somebody lying. And I think it's Diddy. Of course. Mia said that Diddy was having hotel dates with Gina, with Cassie, and with Kim Porter. When was this man working? Which leads me to believe that Diddy was very, very good at getting people to do the work for him. Remember how Little Rod said everybody paints Diddy as this musical genius, but Diddy don't know anything about music. He don't know how to compose. He don't know how to read music, all this other stuff. And back then I was like, okay, but what's the big deal? Because I'm not a musician. Until musicians broke down the way Diddy's legend is. He is like this maestro, this savant with music. I think Diddy did the same thing in business. He was really good at getting in people's heads. He was really good at working them to death. And he was really good at managing people to do all his work. Because how were you working if you were freaking off every single day? Even if you were taking business calls by the freak off, how was that happening? Y'all, so much was revealed. Let's get into this testimony.
Yeah, I'm
with
trying to understand
Mia.
how they
She let
explain
so much
this.
out. Listen, first of all, just to let you guys know, they were arguing this morning saying that they're trying to see if they can stay with Diddy till 10 p.m. every night. And I'm sure Diddy don't want to go back to his jail cell eating some hopped up oodles and noodles. Now, interesting enough, the judge was like, okay, I looked into it, but the MDC told me that you had 300 minutes and you only used 47. Diddy was sitting in trial because he's at the thing. This is Cking. Diddy was sitting in trial and was like, no, I haven't. Talking like he's 3 years old. Diddy, stop. We already know that you are Count Dracula, or the way he be looking at court, Count Chocula. Stop with this prior board act. Diddy sat there and was like, no, I don't have 47 minutes. I literally rolled my eyes so hard, right? But Diddy really went in there and said that he only had 47 minutes. No, that he only didn't have any minutes. The MDC said this fool only used 47 minutes. The Judge Aaron was like, all right, I'm going to have to work this out and actually see who's lying. Because why? Somebody is 100% lying, okay?
Oh, he got somebody working the books for him.
Then they said that they don't have a way to communicate with Diddy. Again, the judge was like, how? If you got 300 minutes and you only used 47, who is lying? He said he's going to look into it. Mark Agnifilio kept saying thank you. Mark Agnifilio wants, like, the wheels to come off because the judge was like, listen, for people in Diddy's case, because don't forget you got that way because you were doing weird stuff with the witnesses and the government said that and the judge clearly believed you. Also, Bayala said, thank you, Tisa, you're the best. Thank you. BJ Kidder said the best has arrived. Thanks for the tea. You're welcome. And the Hood Rilla said, shout out to Gene Dill for knocking out trolls. What is Uncle Gene up to? Shout out to Uncle Gene also, but what is he up to? Who's he knocking out? Brandon said Xavier is a former prosecutor from the Bronx. He's a well-respected attorney in New York State. He's a problem. He needs to tone it down. He's a problem, Xavier. No more cross-examining. Sweet said, love tuning in. I know that's right. Back Alley Scam Chat says, do they have evidence, an essay, a video, the 40th birthday? So right now they haven't presented any evidence of the SA. It's just her word. Sandy Staten, thank you so much for the super chat. And also, Sheila Delphia, what's up, everybody? Oh my God, thank you. Antigone Hart said, your reporting is amazing. You look beautiful and stay safe. He said, justice for his victims. Justice for his victims. Okay, so listen to what happened, right? So anyway, Diddy's team was being like, can we stay there till 10 p.m.? The judge was like, okay, first of all, I've already given y'all so many. This is extraordinary. The level of accommodation I've given you has been extraordinary. And usually, in other cases, people don't get that much accommodation. Mm-hmm. Mark Agnifilio, Yana, I thank you, Yana, thank you. I literally was rolling my eyes like, Mark's knock it off, right? Faithfully 73, thank you so much for the super chat. He's like, but we just need more accommodation. So the judge said, okay, how about we wake Diddy up early and he'll get here around 7 and then y'all can stay till 6. How's that sound? Because he basically gave them about 3 more hours. They said they wanted till 10 because they have to leave Diddy at 3. Judge Aaron was like, no, you get to stay here till 5. The marshals are already stretched. And at the end of the day, he is in this because of his behavior. And there's only so much stretching legally I have to do. Mm-hmm. Even though Judge Aaron did say, I aim to please and I will do whatever.
He's a prisoner.
Code. Thank you so much. Said all of us Trump voters here in Idaho love you, Tisa. Oh, thank you. Tisa for president. Praying for you. Is there going to be another election? Keep up the great work. You're amazing. What's up, guys? Okay, so listen, right? Let me just move a little bit over here. So, good. Okay, right? So, let's see. So where were we? Okay. So the judge is like, he's going to try to find something, but Diddy is trying his best to get as much free time as he can. Earlier transfer to the MDC, no transfer back, NBC. Okay, let's get into this, okay? So there was also a bunch of, they showed summary charts. The government was arguing about, listen, this information is very, very hard to actually accumulate. And I'll tell you about this detail later on live, but they wanted some summary charts. The interesting thing is, Brian Still did a big one. he said, well, Your Honor, we have these binders. And you know, there's so much time with like letting information out. We have these binders. And is there any way with these binders that we can actually, you know, just get them admitted into evidence early so then it's good for the jury? Judge Aaron was like, you know what, that's a good idea. However, those binders were a problem because I feel like they're giving the jury, it really undercut me as testimony. You know what I'm saying? Also, Melly said, always appreciating you and your content. Thank you so much for the
So they
chat,
gave
Melly.
a binder.
And also, Latrice Hopkins said, yes, Barbie doll. Diddy did it from the back. But you, Tisa Teller, you did it from the front line. Thank y'all. Also, Tricia C, thank you so much for the super chat. Big Mama said, oh my goodness, I've been sending song messages to you and Jean to see if you was okay because I haven't seen you go live. So happy you're here. Don't scare me. You guys, sorry, I just got here late, but I'm good this morning. Irene Cherie said, you are the best. And what from now on, I'm going to make sure I go live, even if it's for 2 minutes each morning, so you know I'm okay. One proud Army mama said, baby sis, you need a tall cup of tea to relax and calm. Recross is coming. I don't see the grape, though, getting away with this, no matter how many tricks they pull. So we're on cross right now, and I know redirect is coming. Look at it, I'm giving y'all the live play-by-play. Y'all want me to lie and be like Brian still didn't do his thing, but we are going to get into the play-by-play. Tough Woman said, thanks for updating us daily on the Diddy trial. Also, Susan McCluskey, thank you. Ricardo Lewison said, when I don't see that morning live from Tisa, I'd be 1 minute away from heading to the Ford Trade Station at City Hall with the search party. Thank y'all so much. Also, Deep Princess said, is the victim who the feds found through a SMEX tape testifying soon? She is actually 100% testifying soon. She is actually 100% testifying soon. You know what? I'm just going to run over on this side and film. Hold on, guys. I'm going to move.
But all of them do the same thing.
There's so many people around. I don't want any civilians.
The problem is every last one of them do the same thing. Which one of them didn't communicate with him or try to go back to him or still work with him?
Not the little one.
She ain't looking no different than the rest of them.
You're great. Okay, so listen
to me,
right? Because we got to get in this. First, I'm going to give a shout out to Timmy Garagos. Actually looked really, really nice today. Now, I've been really critical of the Diddy team because I literally said, if you guys don't know, there was a Hollywood Reporter article, Tisa Takes, with Shirley Halperin. Make sure y'all go and give it a view. There'll be a link in the description. If not, just put Tisa Tells Hollywood Reporter. Let me just say this, right? When it comes to the prosecution, I see why the prosecution is looking so rough, baby. They are working overtime.
Yeah, they're really trying to be there at 10 o'clock at night.
Had a more polished look because it makes it look like they're in charge. Well, Timmy Garagos actually tiptoed in there in a nice black pantsuit. She had on some Louis Vuittons. She looked really, really good. And I'm like, this is the way I expect Diddy's defense to actually work. Look, Table Talk with Mia said there were highs and lows. Miss Caroline said it's a high-profile case, so we are on alert. Thank y'all. If I ever go missing, I want all y'all to testify. You're in the trenches. I'm sure the diddler knows who you are. We're coming in full force if something happens. The diddler, there's more weirdos out here than anything. Also, Robert Money Made, musician for entertainment, said, thank you for your amazing work. Thank you. All right, we're about to get into this. Natalie in PR said, Tisa, it's good to see you. I was a little worried. And then also, we got the Princess, right? The Princess said, Mia's testimony is to prove sexual violence in the Rico and has no bearing on the SMEX trafficking charge. Okay, you guys, listen. I'm going to give y'all the truth, my impersonation. Diddy's team is not up, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like Brian still hasn't created doubt. They're still on the cross-examination, and I hope Mia, when she has a second to calm down, thinks and says what? Because Mia painted a picture of how terrified she was with Diddy. Sunkissed Potato said, hey, Tisa girl, I love you, right? She painted a picture of how terrified she was with Diddy. Now, Mia's testimony, very good. I 100% believed her. All right, Sherry Reddy said, great job, Tisa. Your class act, beauty and brains. Love you, sister. Thank you. And Rosie J, thank you. And Trisha H, thank you. Okay, but the issue was, Brian still went through Mia's IG account. And he kept saying, do you remember November 4th? And she was like, why would I remember November 4th? And she's like, the day of November 4th. And she was like, okay. And she's like, what do you remember November 4th for? And she's like, that's Diddy's birthday. And he was like, it's Diddy's birthday? That's funny, because you said that was the first time you were essayed by Diddy. And you said it was seared in your head. Did you not? And you said it's one of the things you will never forget. So can you explain to me why when I say November 4th, you don't say Diddy raped me, right?
She said that on the period, she goes on as normal. She suppressed it because she didn't want people to know what had happened to her.
And Mia was taken aback. But again, if she had had a moment to think, and this is why Brian still had her on the ones and twos, if she had had a moment to think, she would have been like, first of all, I blocked it out. Second of all, I don't think about that. Third of all, if you know anything about SA, yeah. Then he started showing like 20 pictures in a binder of Mia being like, my brother, my mentor, my this, my that. And he kept saying, so this is your personal Instagram? And she was like, yeah. And you were saying how much you loved him? Yeah. And this was your personal Instagram? Now listen, we all know, because we're smart and we know how SA is. One, Diddy was the most powerful man in the music industry.
Yeah, because she couldn't stop what she was already doing. If she didn't leave, she had to continue what she had been doing.
Two, we also know that Mia, even though she was his personal assistant, whenever she didn't do anything that Diddy wanted her to do, he would get like knuck in a buck. And we're going to talk about her terror she was traced around. But honestly, and this is the third part that we really need to get into, okay?
Hi, Barbara.
Even though it was her private account, there would have been issues. And you know how it is when you work in the celebrity field, and she was not shouting her boss out. And she was not saying, what's up to Diddy, all this good
Because
stuff.
he insecure, and you have to stroke his ego.
Serious big issues. So the fact that she was posting on her public account, happy birthday to the man, the myth, the legend, it's literally to be expected. It's to be accounted for. Do you feel what I'm saying? Y'all feel what I'm saying? So there was an explanation, but Brian still was hitting her with the hoop-ha-hee-ha-ha. She literally, he was literally hitting her so hard that she couldn't even think. However, I think she's going to come back. Hey, D. Smith, thank you so much for the cash out. I think she's going to come back better and harder than ever after she comes back. But he was getting her. Nathan on PR said, T, it's good to see you. I was a little worried. I know y'all right. D. Princess said, Mia's testimony is to prove, we already read that. Okay.
Yeah, it's about work.
Potato. Okay, Sherry Reddy
it's about a forced word.
I read that too. Thank you, Trisha. I'm just getting to the super chats or commercial break.
See, she's not up there about her sexual assault. She's up there about
Jansen,
the workforce.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Honeybee Therapy, thank you. B. Will said yes.
You do know that, right?
The defense asked some tough questions.
She's not up there to dispute her sexual assault. She's on the stand about the workforce.
Private text. Oh, because the government, and this is what you all need to realize, the government subpoenaed a bunch of text messages, and they looked through all the devices and they got the screenshots. Even if you lose the messages, nothing is really lost. They can pull it out of devices. Make sure y'all.
I don't play them games like that, baby.
I think Brian still is coming at her too hard. To me, it gives Diddy vibes. She's still a victim. But here's the thing. Laura Smith said, I was worried about you. Thank y'all. From now on, I will be on every single morning. Also, Angela Perry, welcome to the Tattletales family. And D. Gray said, Tisa's eyes are dangerously guarded. Y'all capping me up. Thank you. Don't worry, I'm safe, y'all. And I got security. I'm cool, right? So anyway, listen. Why was Brian Still's cross so effective? Now, it's not over, so Mia might get her wits about her, right? Hector Rodriguez, thank you so much for the super chats. Because you guys, listen, Diddy is going to jail. It's not just Mia, even though Mia's testimony is 100% believable.
She caught lying about what happened. It's not a good look to the jury.
When Mia was testifying, a lot of the men were literally on her side. When you looked at the jury this time, on the cross, when they were like,
what did she lie about?
Why is this? Why is this?
Let me go and break you down right quick. What did she lie about? What did she lie about? What did she lie about on her text messages? Because she's on the stand to show the forced work. So what did she lie about? And she didn't say she wasn't SA. In the text messages, she never once said anything about being SA. So what did she lie about? If someone has trauma and their way of coping is suppressing it as if it never happened, what did she lie about, Pressure? No, she definitely didn't lie about the SA. I knew about her by way of Don. Oh, she definitely didn't lie about the SA. No. But what did she lie about? What did she get? You said she got caught lying. What did she get caught lying saying? Come on. Now you said she caught lying about what happened. It's not a good look for the jury. What did she get caught lying about? You said she got caught, and I think she lied. That is not the same thing. That's not saying she got caught. She didn't get caught lying about being SA. I said if, no, let me see if there's a if. Oh, that if way over there. Okay, I started here. Oh, okay. No, she didn't get caught lying. She just went on as if everything was normal. Because she didn't leave. Yeah, because if she would not, if she'd have done anything any different, that would have been a problem. Miss Hot Mama, what you talking about? Hey, boo, when the services. What are you talking about? When the fume. What are you talking about, Miss Hot Mama? Are you in the wrong platform? What you talking about? Oh, now you talking about Cassie should have been an actor. We're not even talking about Cassie. Why you bringing up Cassie, Pressure? Where Cassie come from? A fool who lies can't be. She ain't lied. She just went on as normal. That's why you need to go to domestic. Go to some counseling sessions so you'll see how the mind operates when people have are traumatized and they hide it. Yeah, you said hi, but you said a whole bunch of other stuff. Go back through. And what you talking about? You put wow, you put hey, boo, when the services. I don't, what is that? And who is boo? She ain't got caught lying. She didn't say that she avoided him. She said that she was trying to figure out different ways of kind of isolating herself, or she thought that she was in control of of being assaulted. She was trying to see what she did wrong. So she started second guessing herself. So what she was doing was moving as normal, so that the man, the bipolar man, wouldn't react. You see, you still finding ways to come at the female, but you never come at him. You like me in Pressure? Are you a booty bopper on me? Because you don't ever have nothing negative to say about Diddy. You never come at Diddy. Why is that? Are you one of them bros before O's? I'm trying to understand you. You don't ever find him wrong in nothing. Why? Why? Can you explain that for me? Because you coming across like you're a Diddy lover. Like you be at them all white parties and fighting with Jay-Z over who getting it first. Oh, now we found out Ray J Oh, but you didn't have nothing to say about none of that. Why? Why? Yeah, you beginning to act like Diddy, for real. Like you sit in the corner. Act like you like women, but on the cool you like men. Because all you have, every time, is a defense. No, but you don't break it down. You don't talk about his deceit, his manipulation, his narcissism. You don't ever go in there. You don't ever break it down and dissect it. Why? But you can find everything wrong with the female. Huh? Break him down. I need for you to break them down equally. Because right now you sounding like it's bros before O's. Like you're a closet man lover. I'm just saying. Because you always come at the female. You brought up Cassie, and Cassie's name ain't even came up. So you went back to attacking Cassie and attacking Mia. Huh? And then in between there, you didn't say nothing about Dangalang Diddy taking cootie from more than one person. And men. How dare you? He more than a monster. He getting a fair trial. He got $1 million attorneys. He's getting a fair trial. He shouldn't misuse his power, overwork people. And again, let's be clear. She really, her goal is to be the witness for the forced work. She's up there about mishandling the work, overworked. She worked 5 days damn near straight. And then in the meantime, she was also essayed more than one time. And if she who done was talking about that, I thought was Capricorn, because I didn't know he had 50 million assistants. He took her passport, had her beaten, and gangbang. I thought it was Capricorn, but they are saying it's her, and there was witnesses. Okay, so she ain't lying about the essay. She ain't lying. And somebody done validated her. That's why they have this extra security, because she was gang banged. Okay?
A lot of the men were shaking their head. A lot of the men on the jury had their eye cocked. A lot of men were looking at her like, this don't make any sense. This is not good. Listen, we are enlightened into what SA is and what survivors are. But there's a lot of people that are not enlightened. And the whole thing is, no matter
a lot of them act like they don't know what human trafficking
and trying to play for
and
the jury.
racketeering is.
Xavier, Westmoreland, and Brian Steele.
Now that I agree. They enable.
Back up there.
Now we agree. Hold on. We agree. We agree. Because this is why I don't make excuses for predators. I ain't enabling nobody to continue to do it. So them continuing to work there, absolutely. But it don't raise a doubt in my mind. I just know there's how people hide trauma, how they suppress trauma, and it comes out in different ways. I just know how to recognize some of those ways, especially once they go up. Hey, Max, thank you for the makeup brushes. Yeah, they suppress it. You don't understand suppression. of trauma. You obviously ain't been traumatized, or you don't know nobody who have, or some of these bipolar, overly aggressive ways, you don't recognize that there is something deep rooted. Yeah, that's the problem. You don't have empathy. Yeah. You don't care about nobody but you and your wife and your kids. That's it. You don't think about nobody else. Everybody else is lying until you find out later down the line, yeah, that was a problem all along. Yeah. It ain't about men lie. Men lie, women lie, but she ain't lying. You can't lie trauma. You can't fake the trauma. Now you can lie about something happening, but the trauma, it's there. And a lot of times people don't even realize that they have suppressed it so long until something comes about, and then it triggers it. And they thought that they was past it. They thought that they was being normal. See, what the attorney did was dug up stuff where she was trying to be normal, trying to act like it really didn't happen, to get it out of her mind and continue. Now, did she compromise herself? Absolutely. Did all of them compromise themselves? Absolutely. Because I just said, up this, I don't care nothing about none of that. But everybody don't look at it like that. That was their career. I don't give a shit about that. Move to a whole different state. Change careers. That would be my suggestion. That's how I would have done it. But I've not been victimized, terrorized like they have. I've never been through that. But just because I've never been through it, I'm not going to act like I don't know nobody who has. I'm not going to act like I don't understand. I do. I absolutely do. I know men who are abusive, make excuses for men who are abusive, just like predators. And I ain't making excuses for none of them. None of them. And he's a predator. Not just on women. That's like asking, why is Usher, you know, he won't let him be around his kids. Yeah, but he never told about what really went on with him. Justin Bieber, he trying to act like he ain't never had a problem with Diddy. You a lie? Yeah, so we're not gonna just act like it's just females who suppress it and carry on like, you know, ain't no big deal. The minute Q was triggered, when he was in that interview, a lot of the men said, oh shit, this nigga up here lying, crying. He was triggered. Y'all don't understand trigger. And then y'all made fun of it. He was triggered. And then because his members know what happened, he confided in them. They was hurt because he was hurt, because he went through that. But people were saying, "Oh shit, what type of shit is that?" Yeah, they up here crying, cause of some shit. Yeah. So that screaming that we be hearing on that video, while he in the bed singing happy birthday to himself, hell, that could have been cute. Waking up in the bed, not knowing where he at, in pain, folk laughing at him, recording him, and he run go hop in the pool while he laying up in the bed singing happy birthday to himself. Have y'all seen that video? He gloating. It's as if everybody got to pay for what what's his name, Brother John, Rabbi, whoever allegedly did to him at that. They say what? So everybody got to feel what he went through with Clive, Andre. Yeah. So no, I'm not gonna act like it, and no, I don't think she lied. No, she did compromise herself, because I would have left. But because she didn't tell nobody, tell her family and friends, she just suppressed it. That's true, Pressure. Now that's true. It's very culty. Yeah, I've said that before. He act like Nature Boy. And what he get? What Ira get? But again, I'm gonna dig off into it because there's a common denominator, even with Ira, who play with kids and force S3X. And every time somebody get caught up with the feds, he move on. Who is the common denominator?
We love to see it. We love to see it. Also, Angela Perry, welcome to the.
I don't know if the parents failed them, Aaron. Yes, because they, as far as me goes, she didn't tell nobody.
Thank you to the fan of Super Chat. Hector, thank you again. Oh, also, Angela Perry. Oh my God.
She didn't tell nobody, but HR and HR. And I mean, I don't know who she think HR is. Ain't HR his sister? What? I mean, who is HR? You reported to HR. Ain't that his family? I mean, hell, they know he got some issues. They know what they be at the freak offs and shit too. I mean the wild king night, whatever. Pressure, I can't do this with you. There is a common denominator, but you don't want to say that. You don't ever want to say who the common denominator is. ADOLPH, he don't have nothing to do with it. Leave his name up out of here. Shit. Or his sister. HR is either his mama or his sister. People would tell KK, but that man, which one she said, the fat guy? Was it the fat guy with the chain smoker? Who told her, oh, I've seen this before. Be careful. And she thought that, nothing happened right then. So she thought, oh, fat boy chain smoker was, she didn't know he was going to come back in her room at night. I mean, I'm just saying, folk know that it happened. Folk know that it happened. Now, the other girl was saying, dang, she put Clive Davis. Who is Clive James? Who is James? The other girl was talking about that D-Rock may be a surprise witness for the prosecution. for immunity. Ooh, baby, if that happens. Let me get through with her so I can get back over to the other one. And let me get that back and see. Yeah, that's a common denominator, baby. They still got, what, 3-4 more weeks? Child, please. Because, listen, I don't know what she finna talk about, but one of these assistants, how many more assistants did he have? Because an assistant was over in the UK, out the country, that he beat up behind Cassie. Gang, I showed it to y'all. I showed y'all gang banged her. Because I had to say, I asked y'all what was gang banging. And it wasn't Crips and Bloods. We looked it up, Googled it. So one of them assistants went through that. And he took her passport. And there was witnesses to that.
Thank you for upgrading your membership. And Chantel Renee said, I love that you block out the negativity. Team Tisa, maybe I don't see any negativity or no worries or problems. Y'all know I be in my bubble, minding my business, happy as can be. Do you see the skin, baby? This is sleeping with no worries. Table Talk with Mimi exclusive said, what's up, Mel? Said IG is a fake life. Yes, fake life is great. Mia said that, so those posts are not eating. Well, here's the thing. Table Talk with Mimi. I did make a note and said, so all you've proven is that IG is fake. Got it. Because we all know IG is fake. However, the men on the jury who just yesterday were looking very, very, very sympathetic toward Mia were shaking their heads. Again, I hope they pull up. Mia did a big one and she was like, yo, well, you're going to have to ask the experts why that is and why I remember it. But again, Brian still is getting a win. I do think that Mia's going to come back after the break, and she is going to be very, very, very...
Well, they needed one.
Again, he was in her head. He was moving her around. And I don't care what it says on the tweets. I'm telling you the way I perceived it to be playing to the jury. Okay? The prosecution were also taking notes. They're going to have to clean up this cross, and the cross isn't even happening. Delight Graphic Design, thank you so much. And getting it together with Drea said, that's Mia's literal job. Exactly. His image, regardless of anything he's done, right? Okay, so listen. 1, Diddy is 100% done. 2, good point. It is her job. But he had, oh my God, here comes some of Mia's friends walking by. Listen, it is Mia's job. However, Brian had her so much coming and going, hammering and making her explain herself to things that didn't even need to be explained, that she couldn't even take a moment to think, no, it's my job. Because all she had to say was, my job, because I have a public account.
Because she didn't leave. We're going to prove again that she didn't leave.
Don't honor this man, then he is going to be chasing me around the yacht. Antoinette Johnson, thank you so much for joining the family. Chrissy B said, I admire your courage, grit, determination, and consistency. You are truly an authentic being. Oh, thank you. Keep up the great work. And also, Lightworker 1964, thank you so much for the super chat. Randy C said, make a banner with your Cash App on it. Maybe I will. Mystery 777 said, Tisa, keep up the great work, sister. You're a very beautiful lady. Thank you. And Candy Ortiz said, hey, you're the best girl. Thank you, Candy. You're so tender. Even. Okay, let me stop. Miss Lady, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, Eva Felipa Watson said, hola, guapa, we've been waiting on you. I've sent your updates to my family in the UK. You will have more family members. You're the best. Thank you all so much. And also, Felicia Vargas, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, Tiffany W said, you are serving it. Thank you. And Suli Buchanan, thank you so much for the memberships. Also, Yikwaba said, how can one man be given a Rico? Because it's not one man. It's not one man. That's what you're forgetting. D-Rock and all his employees all work together to carry out his whim. It's the same way Al Capone had underlings about it. It wasn't one man. It wasn't one man. But Diddy directed it, and that one man is up on trial. You see what I'm saying? It's is up on trial. Nancy Validus Gamble, thank you so much for the super chat. And Antoinette Johnson said, Tisa, I just love you and how you give us the update on trial. Stay safe. Listen, I'm going to do an extra in between. Aaron Pearson said, this. Who is Donut? Donut is saying, I hate black women. Who is Donut? Aaron, who is Donut? And also, I'm a black woman. Like, can y'all get some fucking sense, please? I hate myself. I hate my mama. I hate my besties. I hate everyone. I hate my bloodline. Baby, I got 4 black grandparents. If y'all want to spread rumors, use your fucking brains for once in your head. Anyway, yeah, listen, I don't know who this person, who Donut is. But at the end of the day, stop bringing negativity to my channel. Y'all stop acting like little kids, running and telling that, and bringing people, right? What man or woman that don't got shit and can't trend on their own, so they're using my name. I'm telling you, this is a positive space. Stop playing run, tell that, and bringing people's negativities and dumbness. Do y'all hear y'all?
Dropping his name.
Black woman? Really?
Dropping his name in her chat.
Anyway. Listen, B, thank you so much for the super chat. Tiffany W, thank you so much. Jody Johnson Strong, thank you so much for the membership. And Naturally Me said, hey, beautiful girl, I'm a new follower and you are doing your thing. I'm glued and watching like a fiend. You give the best updates. Thank you so much. Listen, y'all. Also, 03UN60, thank you so much. Joe said, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. Also, Cozy Rose said, thanks for reporting, Tisa. Watching from the UK. Kayla Jackson said, when she said, ask my therapist, how did that land? No lie. When she said, ask my therapist, I said, okay, Mia, you ate. Also, you guys, listen. Maverick Me said, hi, Tisa. Buy the book Rough Women Not Angry, scoring by Meyer GC. I 100% will. Julie White, thank you so much for the super chat. And also, listen, you guys, I'm going to have to start having rules in my live. This channel is all about peace, love, and possibility. Y'all know I don't be bothering anyone. And I'm the first person to put on any content creators. Oh my God, Nikki Butler, thank you so much. No matter how big or small. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the only people that share my platform without asking anything in return, and don't get involved. Okay, I'm not about the dramas at all, and for anybody that's bringing drama to my channel, I'm gonna have to start blocking y'all. I keep negativity, positivity, and light. All right, whether you give a super chat or not, please leave that small-minded mess outside of here. Okay, God. Cody, this is what, Cody, now I'm beginning to see why people don't be sharing their platforms. Cody 39 said, Tisa, I'm tuned in too much. My 5-year just came up to my desk and said, it's Tisa, keep making us proud. Sick, thank y'all. Chow Young Cat said, be joyful in hope, patience, affection, and faithful in prayer. And Kendra Conwell, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Table Talk with Mimi said, you missed my super chat. I'm sorry, Table Talk, I'll get back. Potent Wandering said, ignore them haters. Later focus on what matters. Exactly. Fan for life, Angela, thank you so much. And they want the D. Thank you so much for the super chat. Also, Dory Angel said, don't worry when they talk about you. Worry when they stop. Tisa, when you amazing. Exactly. They've been talking about me since I started. Please. Anyway, right? It's Graves said, Tisa, I look forward to your updates. Diddy and the likes need to pray for their actions. Victoria from Montreal, what's up? Pam Bassett said, what did Quentin Crimson do when Mia said that Kim told her she hid in the cooling cabinet? The funny thing is, everybody seemed a little bit uncomfortable. Britannia, she said, thank you for everything you do. Everybody looked really uncomfortable with the Kim Porter testimony. Sarah said, if someone is making Tisa cuss, I will F up someone. Tisa, make me a mod. I got you. Listen, I will just say this. Listen, anyway, Caprice. Oh my God, thank you. You said, I love your perspective and all you report. Thank y'all so much. Okay, let's get back into the story. Two more super chats on the commercial break. Then we get back into the story. Jody Johnson Strong said, I'll be a moderator. Okay, hold on. Regina Winnington Max said, God bless you. Stay focused on the truth. Nothing but distractions. Give them none of your time. I'm not. Wanda Young said, you acting things out is so comical. Thank you. And Kasonia Blank, thank you so much for your super chat. And Straight Drop Promotion said, stay positive and keep glowing. And TT said, you're doing so good. Would love to see you. Black Nancy Grace on my TV. Don70, welcome to the Tattletales family. Tonya Brady said, I came because you looked like my mom. I stay because your content is top tier. Boo, thanks for staying consistent. Thank y'all so much. Oh, last thing. Jaquiba said they should all be going back to a cage. Not just him though, okay? Shouldn't he be charged with domestic violence? It's too late to charge him with domestic violence, but I'll tell you one interesting thing. Diddy is very busy protecting everybody, so who cares? The Wall said, them the haters to kick rocks with thong flip-flops. I know that's right. And B, thank you so much for deleting, and who was it? Janice, thank you so much. Christian Feaster said, Tisa, let them haters be your motivators. They are. Let's not even talk. Listen, we're not talking about any haters anymore. Pretty bad. I just don't like when people bring me negativity and drama. I don't care. I don't know who any of these people are.
And they dropping their name in your chat.
So glad to see you, girl. I was looking forward to your updates all morning. And Miss Lady said, don't let nobody throw you off your game. Do your thing, girl. Thank you. And also Yolanda Drinker, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so let's get this straight. The light graphic design can do your banner, Tisa, complimentary. Okay, thank you. So listen, she said that there was a scene on the yacht where Diddy had a whole bunch of cash. Now, nobody's talking about where Diddy's getting his cash. So Mia was sitting there counting the cash. Diddy was getting mad, like, what's taking so long? Why are you counting the cash so much? Mia looked at him and finally had enough. She said, well, first of all, it's not my job. That's all Diddy said. Diddy got furious. Diddy was vibrating.
What did she say?
He got furious. And Mia looked at him and looked at this, and Mia was like, whoo! Literally, she turned into a track star.
Did I miss
Mia
it? What did she say?
But get this, Diddy was sitting there while Mia took off and started chasing Mia all up and down the yacht. Imagine a crazed man. Did you see beat Cassie? Janice, thank you so much. Christian Feaster said, Tisa, let them haters be your motivators. They are. Let's not even talk. Listen, we're not talking about any haters anymore. Pretty bad. I just don't like when people bring me negativity and drama. I don't care. I don't know who any of these people are. It's cool. Pretty Dad's 33 said, so glad to see you, girl. I was looking forward to your updates all morning. And Miss Lady said, don't let nobody throw you off your game. Do your thing, girl. Thank you. And also Yolanda Drinker, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so let's get this straight. The light graphic design said I can do your banner, Tisa, complimentary. Okay, thank you. So listen, she said that there was a scene on the yacht where Diddy had a whole bunch of cash. Now, nobody's talking about where Diddy's getting his cash. So Mia was sitting there counting the cash. Diddy was getting mad, like, what's taking so long? Why are you counting the cash so much? Mia looked at him and finally had enough. She said, well, first of all, it's not my job. That's all Diddy said. Diddy got furious. Diddy was vibrating. He got furious. And Mia looked at him and looked at this, and Mia was like, whoo! Literally, she turned into a track star. Mia took off. But get this, Diddy was sitting there while Mia took off and started chasing Mia all up and down the yacht. Imagine a crazed man that you see beat Cassie, you see beat girls. There's nothing. You even see the LAPD trial. You in the middle of the sea. This is like that Jennifer Lopez movie when she was abused, and you are running up and down the yacht. She was hiding in bed. She was doing this. She was literally running for her life. Diddy is acting like a crazy person, running after her. And you know when that man gets mad, he got energy. I've always said this. If anybody's ever been in a fight, dwelling on somebody for 2 minutes in a fight will completely take all your energy out. But instead, Diddy can go for hours, right? Not in bed, according to Mia. According to everybody else, he can go for hours when it comes to fighting.
When
he's just sitting there.
when he's coming to fight.
Literally chasing her up and down. She was literally hiding for her life, scared. It got so bad, Kim Porter and everybody on the yacht had to stop what they were doing and literally look for him and be like, yo, it's okay, don't worry. Because she really thought that Diddy was going to put her underneath, right? That Diddy was going to put her underneath the thing. Baby, it was bad. It was bad, okay? Nacho CC said forced labor should be one of the charges. I know that's right. And Fly Girl 517 said, that's right, Tisa. Keep that positivity. I know that's right. Shar said, happy birthday. Wait, is it Friday? Happy Friday. Love you. I don't know why I thought it was Thursday. Okay, good. Life Lessons Alliance says, I created a Diddy testimony timeline. Where to send? tisatells@gmail.com. Okay, thank y'all so much for the cash apps. I appreciate y'all. Also, Breezy said, Tisa, you staying on Diddler's neck. I love to see it. And Penny said, hey, Tisa, you know the dark can't survive in a beautiful light. Have a wonderful day. I know that's right, baby. We are positive on this channel. Real Louie, thank you so much. I don't ever have to be the news because, baby, we report it. Also, Tammy Robinson, thank you so much for this super chat, all right? Okay, so where are we at? So anyway, they said that she was in Cape Town, South Africa. Oh, Black Anonymous said no regular employer can get away with this mess. Diddy got away with it.
Yeah, no regular employee can.
Get this. Oh, this is another way they almost got her.
Labor laws.
Everybody was buying Diddy and stuff, and she's very credible. And all of a sudden, they're like, did you ever approach Diddy after you were falsely let go? And she said, yeah. And they said, what did your lawyer ask for? And she was like, I believe, well, you know me, yeah. She's sitting on that stand looking like Professor Snape, right? Just traumatized, her hair on her face, right? And she's like, and she looks down and she was like, hold on. And she be looking down. So she was like, my lawyer asked for $10 million. Now, when she did that, I said, girl, but then I said, you know what? Get that money. Get that money. She said that the lawyer asked for $10 million. And the funny thing is, the one bald-headed guy on the first thing of the jury, because it's jury 1, 2, and 3. I believe the black row is alternates, but the first and second are the jurors. There's a lady in the second. I don't know if she's a problem, but there's a guy in the first row. He literally cocked his eyebrow like 10 million. And I said, oh, you better get that money. But then she told us that when they actually settled, she only got 200,000, and that was for overtime, not payment, all that stuff. So I said, "Wow, Diddy is just amazing." He get okay, like, amazingly bad, right?
So her settlement was on, like I said, she is up there about forced labor, right? So her settlement was about payroll, about money she was owed for hours that she worked and never got paid. She didn't sue him for SA, none of that type of stuff. Okay? So that ain't her claim, but it happened. She sued for forced work, which is a part of racketeering Rico. So, saying she lied, she didn't lie about forced work because she got paid for it. And paying for it is admission of guilt. There was a problem. Yeah, you was overworking and not paying. Yeah.
So anyway, she said they were in Cape Town shooting a movie, right? And Cassie was really upset because she felt like Diddy had humiliated her. Why is that? Because Diddy got caught cheating on Cassie with a thing of Gina. I find it odd that everybody that was talking about Cassie being a hoe for what she did to Alex, which was all lies anyway. Cassie being a hoe for what she did talking to Michael B. Jordan. Though nobody got ish to say about Diddy being the biggest hoe out there. And he was cheating on Cassie the whole time.
That's
Again,
acceptable.
I don't know where y'all live, but where I live, if you are cheating, whether or not the person finds out, you do no longer have an exclusive relationship. I know the other person doesn't have to inform you. When you decide to cheat, that's what we doing. We cheat and we cheating, right? You can't be a hoe. You can't be a hoe. Have other hoes and think that you're in a committed relationship, right? Anyway, you can't be cheated on.
And it's not
so
one-sided.
Anyway, she said that Gina was in a club with Diddy, and Gina popped up in that video. And you know Gina, I'm sure Gina did it on purpose, because I do remember back in the day, Cassie and Kim Porter would be taking shots at each other. So I'm sure like the video was going around, Gina was sitting there like rocking, and all of a sudden the thing panned around to Gina, and Gina was probably off to the side, right? And she just stepped into focus. Oh, what? Oh, sorry, and ran out. I know Gina let that one and let it hit. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Gina, because Gina been trying to land that man for, and it was early when Diddy was in the love bombing phase, okay? So anyway, they said Cassie caught Diddy cheating. Gina with Diddy in the club, right? Gina with Diddy in the club. Cassie was devastated. She said that they tried to get Cassie to talk to Diddy on the phone, but Cassie was like, no. They argued a little bit, but then Cassie was like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't get into this, right? And she said that Cassie stopped answering Diddy's phone calls, right? Diddy wasn't in Miami, still cheating on her, right? And had KK try to call Cassie. Then told Mia, can you get Cassie on the phone? Sorry, messenger, don't shoot me. Then she said she woke up, right? And to like literally 48 missed calls and a bunch of messages saying, Diddy just tried to call you. Call me first. He's in a spiral. Please call me. And she was like, I just woke up. It doesn't sound like Diddy's in his right mind. I'm going to rehearsals with Cassie. Because get this, Diddy had told Mia to fly down to South Africa to babysit Cassie. I think that he wanted Mia there for his eyes and ears to make sure Cassie wasn't getting too close, because you know how cheaters, the most jealous people in the world are the biggest cheaters, right?
Right.
Well, especially when it comes to men, right? So they were like, okay, they go down and they're just like, all right, so let me get into this. Let me go. Let me watch. Now get this. And this is how much control Diddy had over her. Do you know that when Mia flew down to South Africa to be with Cassie, do you know that Diddy made her pay for her own ticket? And then Diddy was like, yo, if you don't fly back right now, you getting fired, right? You getting fired. And then all of a sudden, she had to change her ticket and pay for all that herself. I said, Diddy was beyond cheap. How is a billionaire paying you $65K? How is he gonna get fired? Hey, what's up? Melissa Esperanza, thank you so much for your super chat. Pretty Pink Regressive said, go girl, love your energy. Thank you. The International Madam, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, we got Opinionator said, do you think Diddy will turn on Jay-Z and Beyonce? I think that if Diddy had anybody to turn on, he would. I don't think he knows any of Jay-Z or Beyonce's tea. Also, Doug Mack said, I hope you're hiring. I almost lost my job.
You understand? Right. And we here together, and we gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying?
Entitled.
We stand, and ain't nothing else.
Entitled. All mean. Entitled.
That's one of y'all. Yeah.
Look at him. Look at his eyes.
When it was 2016, you know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? And united we stand, and ain't nothing else. Right. To us.
Whatever he was on, what was he on? The Tucci? Whenever that Tucci hit, he was like a crazy man on the phone. Just saying, I'm surprised he didn't say I'm gonna blow up the world. Leslie, thank you so much for the super chat, right? They said it wasn't the first time that KK reached out on behalf of Diddy. Again, I know this sounds funny, but this is the Rico. This is the criminal conspiracy. Did it not say in the indictment that he used his money, power, and influence to direct high-ranking officials in order to conduct a RICO, which was sex trafficking, and to keep these victims close. Also, we got Opinionator said, do you think Diddy will turn on Jay-Z and Beyonce? I think that if Diddy had anybody to turn on, he would. I don't think he knows any of Jay-Z or Beyonce's tea. Also, Doug Mack said, I hope you're hiring. I almost lost my job waiting for you to come on. Oh, thank you. Pamela Sellers said, T said, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, so listen. Wait, hold on. Let me read this one more time. Also, Patrice Villa said, thank you for your hard work and the updates. We love you, Tisa. Also, Altine Ahmed said, sending love for Nigeria. Wango, you doing great. Let's get some smoked fish jollof rice popping. Okay, so anyway, right? So there's like, Diddy is blowing up the phone. There is a bunch of missed calls. Mia, they said Diddy sounded irate. He was slurring his words.
Common denominator, always there.
Threatened to murder. He said he was going to take the phone. He literally said, I'm on the phone right now.
Y'all, this was when he was in a dark place.
How you know it's a lie? She's like, because it was 4:18 in the morning. So basically, Diddy was acting like a crackhead, calling somebody at 2 or 3, whatever he was on. What was he on? The Tucci? Whenever that Tucci hit.
Is this Tucci?
He was like a crazy man on the phone, just saying, I'm surprised he didn't say I'm going to blow up the world. Leslie, thank you so much.
Is this Tucci?
Right? They say that it wasn't the first time that KK reached out on behalf of Diddy. Again, I know this sounds
So this is Tucci.
This is a Rico.
And they don't want no
conspiracy.
coochie.
Did it not say in the indictment that he used his money, power, and influence to direct high-ranking officials in order to conduct a RICO, which was sex trafficking, and to keep these victims close. Coelho R said, Rock Nation executive Desiree Perez is sued for RICO. Baby. Listen, we're going to talk about Rock Nation when I get home. Let me just get through this test.
Oh, Rock Nation coming up.
What's going on?
Baby, lips black.
You guys.
Eyes black. So I guess this is what the black eyes look like.
Focus myself and get to work. Anyway, KK kept calling saying, I'm sorry. Diddy wants to talk. He just called me again. Diddy was going crazy. Inferno Hulk 811. Huh? Oh, the family's leaving? Or they're coming back in? The Diddy's family's leaving and coming back in. Let's see if we can get a whole thing. Internal Hulk 8081 said, Tisa, your play-by-play of the Diddy trial is top-notch journalism. Your intelligence is the only thing that surpasses your beauty. Do you think Gene Deal and Roger Bonds will testify? Stay plus. Gene Deal will not testify because the prosecution said that they don't want people that have a big media presence testifying. Roger Bonds has been largely quiet. And I do believe that Roger Bonds is going to testify. And I think he's going to testify for the prosecution. Leslie, thank you so much for joining the family. And Tina Kamian said, you work in the hair. Please help Janice Combs with them wigs. Listen, let me tell you something. In real life, Janice Combs looks really, really beautiful. And that platinum suits her. Diddy's mom is a beautiful, beautiful woman. And that platinum suits her. I know on cameras it's like, oh, whatever. But you know, I love when somebody got a number 27 or a 6'2", 6'13" wig. That's my jam. C. Coelho R said, yay. But Janice Combs is a gorgeous, gorgeous woman. Her bone structure, now she's tiny. She's very tiny, like very tiny and very short. But her face, mwah. And the wigs, they suit her very, very well, right? Very, very, she's a gorgeous woman. And that platinum, y'all gonna see me dipping and diving when I'm 80 in a platinum two-piece. I might even have neon fluorescent green. As we age, thank you so much for the super chat. And Latrice Strong, thank you so much for the super chat. Woo! Kelly Black, yes, thank you for the Cash App. You said, I hope Diddy goes down. Me too, right? Okay, listen, I'm about to go upstairs in 1 second, but I just want to get through this, right? Anyway, and then we're going to go back on the record, okay? So anyway, KK was like, yo, I'm so sorry. He just wants to talk. He called me again. She's like, Mia, I'm so sorry. If he said don't call him, right? He said if you don't call him in 2 minutes, you're fired. Diddy was tweaking. He was tweaking. But he's so violent and powerful, you have to take him seriously because outside of that, oh, look, there's Diddy's kids going into the courtroom. Do y'all see them? There's Quincy. There's Justin. They're walking into the courtroom right now. Don't say I'll never give y'all anything action, right? This is proving I'm outside the courtroom and not walking in, not sitting in my mama's basement. Anyway, right? Even though, don't tempt me. Maybe I will report live from my mama's basement and literally put a green screen behind me and be like, hi, guys, live. Oh, look. Look, more. There go Diddy's family right there, going in right there. There go Mama Combs. It looks like a niece, uncle, somebody. Anyway, that's Mama Combs, Christian, and a few people going in right there. Y'all saw it here first. That's why y'all need to follow the lives. Y'all never know what you gonna get. All right. So anyway, right?
Oh yeah, Aaron. Yes, they have shown every one of them.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? But that's how much fear they had. Cause let something in the party call me 3:30 in the morning. Telling you gonna do this and that. Man, that's going straight to voicemail. I don't even care. You could be the president of the United States. I don't care if it's 3:30 in the morning. Man, mark that mess unread and let's go back to sleep. Anyway, she said that she told him that she had to get on a plane immediately on her own money. He threatened to fire her, murk her, all this. It wasn't the first time. She said TV wants to call. Now Mia, what? Who, what? Now Mia, right, was like, there was 48 missed calls or messages. She pointed out the time difference. She said it's ridiculous. She said, I'm not ignoring you, even though real talk, you were ignoring him. But you know what? I love that because it shows when your boss is being unreasonable, you don't curse your boss out. You just find excuses why you weren't available, right? She was like, she literally said that she had night terrors. So KK emailed her and was like, yo, how's things going over there? And she said, oh, besides the night terrors, panic attacks, I can't breathe. It's going great. I said, you better get that workers' comp, right? They showed messages between Mia and Diddy. Diddy was like, if you don't call me now, I'm going, oh, that's another thing. Diddy said, if you don't call me now, I'm going to tell everyone everything we did. I'm going to tell Cassie about the facts of what you did with me, which oddly enough was an essay. What does it show? Blackmail. It shows a pattern. It also shows coercion. You're using things of a sexual nature to force these people. What do you need in sex trafficking? You need force and you need coercion. And you only need 2 instances of either, right? She said she was scared and terrified, all right? She also said that Diddy said, if you don't call me now, I'm going to tell and expose everything to Cassie. FABC and all the lawyers. So he was helping Mia get this pilot. Now here's the thing. A lot of people are like, that don't sound right, because why would Diddy miss money? Why would Diddy miss money? Do y'all remember what Diddy did to Danity Kane? Do y'all remember what he did to Day 6? Do you remember what they did to Dirty Money? Diddy has look what he did to all the artists on Bad Boy. Diddy don't care. He will shut down a project in a minute because it's not about the money for him. It's about the control. So I 100% believe that when it came to whether or not he would axe a TV show, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, he didn't care about that TV show and he used it to dangle over Mia's head, right? All right. So he said FABC was supposed to be on ABC and all the lawyers. You have 2 minutes to call me, right? Or I'm going to F you up and let Cassie know what we did. Again, I said the comedy show sold to ABC. She was super exciting and threatening him threatening to take it away had her crying so bad she had snot coming out of her nose. Now, what does that tell you? Is this not the sex trafficking? Is this not the Rico? The shady hot 89 said, where's Little Robin all this? He's the one who really started the hype. He is, but again, people that did a lot of interviews, the feds decided not to interview because they didn't want the media circus that Diddy would have gotten. Hold on, y'all. Oh, also, Leslie, thank you so much again for the membership. Place it. God bless you, Tisa, and thanks for all your hard work. Would you give more? I will give more, but this is my birthday weekend. Keep up the great work. Play. Thank you for giving everything, and happy birthday to Play. Y'all send Play some birthday wishes. Jerome Finney said, Tisa, we needed you to actually get lunch on these breaks for lunch, baby. Tisa, y'all been telling me forever, predator. Tisa, are you pregnant? I'm not pregnant. I was just going through stress and was eating, and I was by my mom, and you know I will eat everything my mom says. So Tisa is on, not a diet, but I'm trying to get active and miss some meals. So thank you, but I am eating dinner. And No G70 said, Tisa, have you heard anything about the singer Sherry Dennis? Not yet. Cold Soldier, thank you so much for subbing. Also, hold on, just one more super chat. Lee said, I should get on the train and say hi, but here's a little Starbucks in the meantime. Oh, thank you, Lee. Thank you. Also, Donna W., welcome to the Tattletales fam. And also, Jody Johnson Strong, thank you so much for that. Okay, so listen. She said she begged Diddy. He said, if you don't call me in 2 minutes, I'm going to do all this. She was on the thing begging him, please just give me 9 minutes. Cassie's in a fitting. I can't make her call you. She said Diddy sent her a million messages. Mia was apologizing. Then there was an email from Mia to Pump being like, this is not fair. She said, listen, I just want to make sure I understand exactly what you want, okay? DDF said, thanks for standing up for yourself. Oh, thank you. Listen, so she was like, thank you, DDS. So she said she bought her own ticket to see Cass, and she asked Diddy, listen, it's very expensive. I don't have that much money, but if you let me know exactly what you want to do, like basically forget Cassie, forget everyone, I will do exactly what you want, okay? And Mia said, I've never asked you for money, but she was begging a billionaire for money to come back to work when he was the one that sent her to South Africa. Y'all, listen. Y'all know I don't have any interns. I am about to start hiring for interns. Actually, let me pay y'all because people be talking.
Hi, Laura.
But also, Diddy had a thing on people where they felt like they had to prove them, like even spend their own money. Ma'am said the world needs more people like you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, guys. And also, Ray Lewis said, is KK part of the Rico? She is, but it's yet to know whether she's going to testify for Diddy. My prediction is I think KK flipped. I think KK flipped, okay?
Well, if
So
she
Mia was
prosecute,
begging. She said Cassie seemed heartbroken.
either she
said, "Listen,
is
Diddy, I
a
wanna follow your
cooperating
directions." I know he's
witness
kicking himself because this is an
or
email
a
from
co-conspirator.
2013 that proves that she was only doing his behest, which proves the Rico. Goldie 526 said, "Salad on me, Tisa." Ah, thank you. You know, weight loss and salad goes hand in hand. I'm gonna get a chicken Caesar with extra dressing. Anyway, Arin Renee, thank you so much for coming to the family. Also, Big Chris said, "Missed you this morning. Keep up the good work." You guys, I promise you all see me every single morning from here on out. And Renita Lunsford, thank you so much for being a part of the family. Okay, so she said, "I want to follow your directions. Of course, Diddy, I will do whatever you want." She said she knows no one cares what he does to her, so she had to keep him happy. Mimi, what 214? Thank you so much for joining the Charles family. She said that she said she needed to follow Diddy's instructions. She said she was sending email after emails. She said, "I want to stay if you want me to, but if you don't, I want to go back. I just want to make sure Diddy's happy." She even forwarded, she said that she had to tiptoe around him, and she even forwarded all the emails to KK, and she begged KK for clarity to change the flight or not. I know Diddy and all of them are kicking themselves because, baby, that is Rico right there. That is Rico right there. Just shows that positive vibes only. Y'all know that's right.
No,
baby.
what she asked KK to do?
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
Water. I mind my... Hey, what's up? I drink my water. I mind my business. And, baby, I give y'all what y'all want for yourself. Oh, thank you. Listen, so she was like, "Thank you, Diaz." So she said she bought her own ticket to see Cass, and she asked Diddy, "Listen, it's very expensive. I don't have that much money, but if you let me know exactly what you want to do, like basically forget Cassie, forget everyone, I will do exactly what you want." Okay? And Mia said, "I've never asked you for money," but she was begging a billionaire for money to come back to work when he was the one that sent her to South Africa. Y'all, listen. Y'all know I don't have any interns. I am about to start hiring for interns. Actually, let me pay y'all because people be talking. But also, Diddy had a thing on people where they felt like they had to prove and even spend their own money. Ma'am said the world needs more people like you. Thank you for all you do.
Okay, hold on. So this is must be when he took her passport. Hold on.
She is, but it's yet to know. Or messages. She pointed out the time difference. She said it's ridiculous. She said, "I'm not ignoring you," even though real talk, you were ignoring him. But you know what? I love that because it shows when your boss is being unreasonable, you don't curse your boss out. You just find excuses why you weren't available, right? She was like, she literally said that she had night terrors. So KK emailed her and was like, "Yo, how's things going over there?" And she said, "Oh, besides the night terrors, panic attacks, I can't breathe. It's going great." I said, "You better get that workers' comp," right? They showed messages between Mia and Diddy. Diddy was like, "If you don't call me now, I'm going..." Oh, that's another thing. Diddy said, "If you don't call me now, I'm going to tell everyone everything we did. I'm going to tell Cassie about the fact of what you did with me," which oddly enough was an essay. What does it show? Blackmail. It shows a pattern. It also shows coercion. You're using things of a sexual nature to force these people. What do you need in sex trafficking? You need force and you need coercion, and you only need 2 instances of either, right? She said she was scared and terrified. All right. She also said that Diddy said, "If you don't call me now, I'm going to tell and expose everything to Cassie, FABC, and all the lawyers." So he was helping Mia get this pilot. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are like, that don't sound right, because why would Diddy miss money? Why would Diddy miss money? Do y'all remember what Diddy did to Dana Kane? Do y'all remember what he did to Day 6? Do you remember what they did to Dirty Money? Diddy has look what he did to all the artists on Bad Boy. Diddy don't care. He will shut down a project in a minute because it's not about the money for him. It's about the control. So I 100% believe that when it came to whether or not he would axe a TV show, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, he didn't care about that TV show, and he used it to dangle over Mia's head, right? All right. So he said FABC was supposed to be on ABC, and all the lawyers. You have 2 minutes to call me, right? Or I'm going to F you up and let Cassie know what we did. Again, I said the comedy show sold to ABC. She was super exciting, and him threatening to take it away had her crying so bad she had snot coming out of her nose. Now, what does that tell you? Is this not the sex trafficking? Is this not the Rico? The shady hot 89 said, where's Little Rob in all this? He's the one who really started the hype. He is, but again, people that did a lot of
I agree.
interviews,
She
the feds
should have
decided
told
not to
Pastor
interview
herself.
because they didn't want the media circus that Diddy would have gotten. Hold on, y'all. Oh, also, Leslie, thank you so much again for the membership. Place it. God bless you, Tisa, and thanks for all your hard work. Would you give more? I will give more, but this is my
Maybe
birthday.
that would have made.
Keep up the great work. Play.
I don't
Thank you
know.
for giving everything, and happy birthday to Play. Y'all send Play some birthday wishes. Duran Finney said, Tisa, we needed you to actually get lunch on these breaks for lunch, baby. Tisa, y'all been telling me forever, Tisa, are you pregnant? I'm not pregnant. I was just going through stress and was eating, and I was by my mom, and you know I will eat everything my mom says. So Tisa is on, not a diet, but I'm trying to get active and miss some meals. So thank you, but I am eating dinner. And No G70 said, Tisa, have you heard anything about the singer Sherry Dennis? Not yet. Cold Soldier, thank you so much for subbing. Also, hold on, just one more super chat. Lee said, I should get on the train and say hi, but here's a little Starbucks in the meantime. Oh, thank you, Lee. Thank you. Also, Donna W., welcome to the Tattletales fam. And also, Jody Johnson Strong, thank you so much for that. Okay, so listen. She said she begged Diddy. He said, and you don't call me 2 minutes, I'm gonna do all this. She was on the thing begging him, please just give me 9 minutes. Cassie's in a fitting. I can't make her call you. She said Diddy sent her a million messages. Mia was apologizing. Then there was an email from Mia to Pump being like, this is not fair. She said, listen, I just want to make sure I understand exactly what you want, okay? DDS said, thanks for standing up for yourself. Oh, thank you. Listen, so she was like, thank you, DDS. So she said she bought her own ticket to see Cass, and she asked Diddy, listen, it's very expensive. I don't have that much money, but if you let me know exactly what you want to do, like basically forget Cassie, forget everyone, I will do exactly what you want, okay? And Mia said, I've never asked you for money, but she was begging a billionaire for money to come back to work when he was the one that sent her to South Africa. Y'all, listen. Y'all know I don't have any interns. I am about to start hiring for interns. Actually, let me pay y'all because people be talking. But also, Diddy had a thing on people where they felt like they had to prove them, like even spend their own money. Ma'am said the world needs more people like you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, guys. And also, Ray Lewis said, is KK part of the Rico? She is, but it's yet to know whether she's going to testify for Diddy. My prediction is I think KK flipped. I think KK flipped, okay? So Mia was begging. She said Cassie seemed heartbroken. She said, listen, Diddy, I want to follow your directions. I know he's kicking himself because this is an email from 2013 that proves that she was only doing his behest, which proves the Rico. Goldie526 said, salad on me, Tisa. Ah, thank you. You know, weight loss and salad goes hand in hand. I'm going to get a chicken Caesar with extra dressing. Anyway, Erin Renee, thank you so much for coming to the family. Also, Big Chris said, missed you this morning. Keep up the good work. You guys, I promise you all see me every single morning from here on out. And Renita Lunsford, thank you so much for being a part of the family. Okay, so she said, I want to follow your directions. Of course, Diddy, I will do whatever you want. She said she knows no one cares what he does to her, so she had to keep him happy. Mimi with 214, thank you so much for joining the family. She said that, she said she needed to follow Diddy's instructions. She said she was sending email after email. She said, I want to stay if you want me to, but if you don't, I want to go back. I just want to make sure Diddy's happy. She even forwarded, she said that she had to tiptoe around him, and she even forwarded all the emails to KK, and she begged KK for clarity to change the flight or not. I know Diddy and all of them are kicking themselves.
I actually had a website that I'm about to I got a nice shape. But yeah, I fuck Diddy. I'm not gonna front. I'd fuck the shit out of Diddy. Like, I'm just giving it a buck, like, you know what I'm saying? Like why not? Like, you know, Diddy's attractive, you know what I'm saying? Get him off of like a bottle of Ciroc, like, you know, shot of Ciroc. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of Ciroc, like, you know what I'm saying? Get them fucked up, you know, I'll fuck them.
Who is that like? Who
I actually got a website that I'm about to start a movement. It's called I Wanna Fuck P. Diddy Movement. That's you know, my agenda for the rest of the semester.
Are you gonna start a Kickstarter for that?
I'm gonna start a Kickstarter. You know, I'm gonna set it to like a meal ticket, and like, you know what I'm saying, if I can reach a meal ticket, like I'm gonna drop me and P. Diddy sex tape. Diddy thick, yo. Like, you ever seen a nigga, like, you know, like, you ever seen a nigga, like, in some, like, tight shit? Like, that nigga thick, yo, and I was like, yo, that nigga, like, got a nice shape, like. But, yeah, I fuck Diddy. I'm not gonna front. I'd fuck the shit out of Diddy. Like, I'm just keeping it a buck, like, you know
Who
what
is
I'm saying?
Daylight?
Like, why not? Like, you know, Diddy's attractive, you know what I'm saying? Get him off with, like, a bottle of Ciroc.
What's up, y'all? I finally.
Yeah, I fuck Diddy. They're not telling you what the baby oil is.
Okay.
That's all it is. They're not saying what the baby oil got in it.
Oh, we got something in the baby oil.
Have you ever seen Blink Twice?
Nah.
Y'all ain't seen that
Nah,
yet.
but give me a synopsis real quick.
So Blink Twice is the scenario is this is rich man, this rich dude that all the girls like. He take all the girls that win something or whatever on a trip to an island, to his house or whatever, and they go out there and they have fun every night. They get drunk, they have wild parties, they pop hallucinogens and all that shit, and they be gone. But I ain't gonna tell the whole story, but I know I'm gonna say one part is one of the girls was tied up in the end, right? And he was sitting there looking at her when she looked up, and he said, man, last year you did it, but this year I didn't even think you could pull it off. I said, this year? Man, they didn't even know they've been there for a couple of years. They think they still been there for a couple of weeks and months.
It's because they so drugged up.
They so drugged up. You know what I'm saying? And from what I heard, that the baby oil got some kind of shit in there where they pour it in your drink, that shit make you forget shit.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it's even deeper than we really think.
Yeah, because why would you have 1,000? They're not telling you what the baby oil is.
Okay.
That's all it is. They're not saying what the baby oil got in it.
Oh, we got something in the baby
Because
oil.
baby, that is Rico right there. That is Rico right there.
That's Rico right
Just
there.
shows that positive vibes only. Y'all know that's right, baby. You can tell I drink my water. I mind my I mind my business, and baby, I give y'all what y'all want, baby. Consider me unproblematic.
Mr. Me.
Okay. Anyway, I will say, you know what? With this thing with Mia, she didn't know whether she should change her flight or not. She said it was impossible to make a decision without Diddy's okay because Diddy orchestrated it. Listen, Randy C said 16K in the chat. You're doing great, T said. Thank y'all so much. Hit that like button. Also, she said it's impossible to make decisions without Diddy. There was all these shifting moves. They had to work around him. She said she always felt defeated, pointless, incompetent, letting her friends down, couldn't give the answers. She said that she got suspended a lot whenever she didn't bring Cassie on a silver platter to Diddy. The chief of staff and HR were notified. The HR is Vashta Wilson, and the chief of staff was Brian Bias Fletcher. I don't know, somebody like that. The point is,
Oh, so
when I
it
was
wasn't
sitting there, I
sister.
was literally writing Rico, sex trafficking, collusion, co-conspirator. It was like, and I know, you know what's so crazy with Diddy? The fact that Diddy did all this mess years ago, I think, honestly, and people have told me, oh my God, Stephanie M. English said, for you being a truth keeper, thank you so much, Stephanie. Ice VR, thank you so much for coming into the Tattletales family. And Randy C., hey, what's up, mama? Randy C., thank you so much again. So listen, listen. So they said violence. Oh, so this is another thing, right? Can you imagine, because Diddy's done worse things. This was in the beginning when he first got some money. Can you imagine the mess he's into now? And can you imagine somebody jamming you up? And you were saying you'll never want to go to a place where you're rats and roaches, and now you're sitting here fighting with the rats and roaches in your cell, all because of some mess you did 20 years ago. I know Diddy feels dumb. I know he feels stupid. But at the end of the day, Yolanda Washington said, thank you for all that you're doing. We love you. I love y'all too. Thank you. You guys are my safe space. Bluetooth Party said, Tisa, when Diddy's news broke, what did it stir in you emotionally? Not gossip, your truth. How did it hit your spirit? Honestly, when the Diddy's news first broke, y'all know I had a head start on it. I knew what was going on behind the scenes. So when he got arrested, I felt relieved and vindicated. Again, people are saying that Diddy is into some really dark stuff. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The same way they got Al Capone for tax evasion is the same way they getting Diddy for this. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to prove everything to put you in jail for the rest of your life.
Same way they got Ira.
Right? I know Diddy is upset because there is literally 20 years ago, you proven Rico, you threatening people, you doing all this stuff. I know Diddy is sitting there like, damn. You know, again, this is why I keep things love and light. There will never be a time somebody can come back to me and say I was doing this, I was talking shit. No. When you lead with like good heart and honest intentions, like nobody can say anything, you know? Or even if they do, it don't stick because where's your proof anyway? Joni Blair said hit the like button and make sure the likes match the views. Also, T. Young says there need to be way more people in trial. That demon had way too much help. And Noji and Jolie suddenly said Tisa, Rihanna should put you in a makeup campaign. Oh, please. Rihanna needs to get back out. Well, she don't need to do nothing. She's a mom to 3. Anyway, TV said, love you and your surprise witness cousin. Shout out to BJ Investigates. When are you live outside? I watch you. When I'm live outside, you watch me. And when I'm inside, you watch her. Well, baby, I'm going to start going live inside too. So BJ's going to have to scoot over because I want y'all to watch me too. Okay, so listen, right? Anyway, oh my God. So then he said, D-Rock. Let me tell y'all something before I go back into court. D-Rock's name was all up and down this. Let me flip to the good part. And then I'm going to go back in the court. When the news of Cassie's lawsuit broke, D-Rock, now she hadn't talked to D-Rock in 2 years. He hit her with a text and said, yo, what's up? Hit me up. She said she already knew what it was about. She looked at that like, what you want, D-Rock? D-Rock hit her and said, yo, he told her about his life. He said, yo, life is crazy. I just want to catch up. Mia said, I already knew what time they were on, right? He said, yeah, all this is crazy. All this stuff that's making the news is crazy. Jonathan said, love you, girlie. Keep doing your thing. Thank you. And Wendy Perry said, you're amazing. May God surround you with blessings and protection. Thank you. And thank you for your awesome energy and work protection. This is why we vibe and why we're family, because we're on the same path. Maybe there is too much going in this world not to mind our business and do funny reenactments of Diddy. That's why I get y'all. We're here for the laughs. Aren Renee said, please don't say my name. Do you think Stevie J will testify, as in the law? I say he was likely as faith. And listening to 2003, much love. Thank you. First of all, I 100% do believe that Stevie J is going to testify for Diddy. Now, if Faith testifies, I don't know about that. C. Carlo R. said Bill Cosby Jr. Harvey Weinstein vibes. Yes, indeed, that is exactly what he has. So anyway, D-Rock said, yo, this is crazy. He said, yo, but you know what? They saying all this stuff, but Puff and Cass would just fight like normal couples. And she said when she heard that, her blood went cold. Because she was like, first of all, D-Rock, you don't talk like this. Second of all, I know what you're calling for. Because Diddy has a history of getting people to put things up, to flip people, so you lie for him. 3, stop right there. I know where you're going, D-Rock, and I'm not doing it. Mia said she already knew because Diddy had been playing this game forever.
Right.
You know what? Forever.
Right.
And also, really quick, where are we at? Brittany Renee said, is D-Rock dead or alive? People saying he's dead. D-Rock is alive and kicking. And so is Ruben, his little brother. Sue Herman, what's up? Also, Constance Hamilton said, hi, Tisa, great job. You are awesome. Thank you. Okay, so listen, right? I honestly have to get back into court. I'm loving this, but I promise I'm going to be back down in probably an hour to tell y'all what ended up going on with the rest of the cross-examination. I got so much more tea. And also, you guys, make sure you hit notifications because I'm going to be working, grinding all weekend.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what this is saying. Hold on. Let me cut the volume up before I get back to...
The racketeering is going to come, whereas that the people that he had do all those criminal acts, they were paying for it out cash with their own money and credit cards and stuff like that. And then Bad Boy was coming and paying them under Bad Boy Entertainment. They was paying them back. So that's where the racketeering is going to come in at. Committing crimes and then paying for it with the company and using the people in your company to commit the crimes for you. It only takes two, bruh. And they got more than two already. They got his own people testifying against him now. Did you buy drugs? Yes. Who did you buy drugs for? Mr. Combs. What did you buy drugs with? My money. How would you reimburse for your money or whatever like that? Through Bad Boy Entertainment. The racketeering is going to come, whereas that the people that he had do all those criminal acts, they were paying for it out cash with their own money and credit cards and stuff like that. And then Bad Boy was coming and paying them under Bad Boy Entertainment. They was paying them back.
Why would they have to use their money first?
Committing crimes.
Why would they have to use their money? Ugh. He a bomb. What is she saying?
The attorneys were really brilliant. They didn't sue just Diddy. They sued his corporations.
They sure did.
And they sued his corporations and sued in her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance.
Yeah.
And it triggers another policy called directors and officers. Okay, and we know he's a director of these companies as the CEO. So now you got two policies. What happens then is it takes away Puffy's ability to settle. It's not his choice no more.
So it's no longer personal accountability. It's his organization.
It's his organization. And it's no different than like if you hit somebody with your car. Mm-hmm. Let's say you have State Farm. Mm-hmm. State Farm gets to decide to settle, not you. You could say, I didn't run the stop sign. That's not true. They're lying. If State Farm says, we don't care, we did our investigation, we're settling. That's it. That's what happened here. So because they added those claims, the corporate insurance carrier got to say, read over it and say, oh, hell no, we giving her the money.
We're hearing you. Diddy's public reputation is done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be able to leave anything to his children, he needs to walk away from all of these corporations.
Damn, he can no longer be the head of his corporations.
Well, remember, didn't I say directors and officers liability?
Yeah.
More than likely, what will happen is those insurance companies, they have the ability to say, we won't renew your policy if he continues to be a director or officer. Attorneys were really brilliant. They didn't sue just Diddy. They sued his corporations.
They sure did.
And they sued his corporations and sued in her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance.
Yeah.
And it triggers another policy called directors and officers. Okay, and we know he's a director of these companies as the CEO. So now you got two policies. What happens then is it takes away Puffy's ability to settle. It's not his choice no more.
So it's no longer personal accountability. It's his organization.
It's his organization. And it's no different than like if you hit somebody with your car. Mm-hmm. Let's say you have State Farm. Mm-hmm. State Farm gets to decide to settle, not you. You could say, I didn't run the stop sign. That's not true. They're lying. If State Farm says, we don't care, we did our investigation, we're settling. That's it. That's what happened here. So because they added those claims, the corporate insurance carrier got to say, read over it and say, oh, hell no, we're giving her the money.
We're hearing you. Diddy's public reputation is done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be able to leave anything to his children, he needs to walk away from all of these corporations.
Damn, he can no longer be the head of his corporation.
Mark, next time you come in, you speak.
Directors and officers liability.
Yeah.
More than likely, what will happen?
You don't come in here. You don't have the right and not speak.
We won't renew your policy.
How about
if he
that?
Continues to be a director or officer.
How about that?
Really brilliant. They did.
How about that? Ha ha ha. That. How about that? I let you make it until you continue, so I know exactly who you are. Yeah. Next time, follow the rules.
20 years. Jay-Z refused to speak out against R. Kelly, but his former partner, Dame Dash, won't stay silent.
Are we ready? Female what? What's going on?
Aaliyah is key to everything. Aaliyah and I were very serious. We talked about getting married, so I know exactly what went on.
You feel like, no, that's a bad man.
R. Kelly did indeed marry his protege, the 15-year-old singer Aaliyah Houghton.
Like, Aaliyah was like the sacrificial lamb for all that.
22-year-old rising star Aaliyah has been killed in a horrific plane crash.
It's a pain that you couldn't understand.
It changed you, turned you into a monster. When Dame was at his lowest,
Common
Jay
denominator.
committed the ultimate betrayal.
I had so much trust in my brother, but he did things that I thought he would never do. So what you
Common
think I felt
denominator.
all these years?
For 20 years, R. Kelly's power protected him.
At that time, we did not look hard enough.
You remember Aaliyah's album cover? Age ain't nothing but a number. Sitting back there like Perv Master.
I mean, I wasn't there. You know, I ain't have nothing to do with that.
They made a song together called Not Guilty. Anybody that knows what happened to my girl that with me should not be with home, period.
Tell me about the relationship with Jay-Z. You and Jay-Z formed Rockefeller Records in the 90s. Are you and Jay-Z still friends?
Well, you know, but there's been things where he's been in business with people that are against my honor code. So because of that, I kind of have to keep a distance.
As you hear all this other stuff in the news with R. Kelly, how does it make you feel about him?
I was just shocked at how long he got away with it. And how many people turned and looked the other way.
Turn and look the other way. Common
Involved
denominator.
with him in any kind of way, knowing all those things.
Before R. Kelly, Dame and Jay were inseparable as they built an empire together.
You've been with Jay-Z since the beginning, right? So,
I mean, yeah, about 10, 15 years.
Jay-Z and Dame came from street money to starting a label that nobody wanted to sign Jay-Z, so they created their own and turned around and got him famous to where he got a deal. They got a deal at Def Jam.
You know, we all know we're a family at
He more
Rockefeller.
than
Jay's my best
a
friend.
bystander.
I'm not ashamed.
He always involved. He just let the other people do it up front.
And we all know this
He's the
close, and
front man.
that's one of the reasons why we so tight as a family.
Dame
He
always
was
fought
okay
for
with
Jay,
what was
even
going on
when
with
no one
R.
else
Kelly
would.
with underage
I took it more
kids.
personal than business because I was fighting for my friends and my brothers as opposed to people I didn't know.
This is the man that came in the corporate offices, and when they was robbing us, he made sure we got what we were supposed to get.
I mean, we built this from nothing. Nothing. So there's nothing that we can't see our way through.
But when Dame met Aaliyah, everything changed.
She was one of those people that if she did something first, everyone followed suit because she was a very forward thinker.
Now, not only do you have your self-titled album coming out, we just heard that you have been confirmed for Matrix 2 and the Matrix 3. Yeah. Oh my God, congratulations.
I feel so blessed because
They said
everything that I've always wanted
she
was
was
happening
replaced
to
by
me. And
Beyonce.
I have so many places to go and so many things to enjoy.
But I've never seen
After
anyone that was going
she
to affect the
rejected
world like she did, despite the fact that she went through a lot of bull. Still very innocent and not
Jay-Z.
jaded.
Aaliyah could see a different side of Dame, but as they got closer, there was one thing in their way.
Our intention at first wasn't even to be in love. We were just really good friends, and we fell for real. It was almost an accident. My friend Natani brought me to this photo shoot in LA. It was called like the It Girls, and we were talking about things about your soul and the evolution of your soul, and that was where our connection came. We did
Same
build a
thing
real
that
friendship.
got
But it was
Ara
comprehension because other people were
in
trying to do that.
Rico is what's gonna
Like,
get.
'cause Jay was trying to get at her as well, and I didn't know. He was sending flowers, and he was courting her.
Because the rumor originally was that you were connected to Jay. Exactly. Jay and I were hanging out a lot. He's my homie. We had a lot of fun together, but we never dated like that. I'm gonna leave
so you have a boyfriend in your life?
It's personal life. That's the personal
He
life.
my
I don't really
homie.
discuss it. It's hard when you're in this business. You become a
can't
public
talk about
figure.
it.
You know what I mean?
He
And
rejected.
everything you do belongs to the public, and that's fine. But there's parts that you want to keep for you.
Dame knew how important Aaliyah's privacy was because she'd been under attack for her last relationship 5 years earlier.
Hip-hop star R. Kelly did indeed marry his protege, the 15-year-old singer Aaliyah Houghton.
That was a headline. That was something talked about like it was normal.
Did y'all ever talk about it?
We talked about it up to the point where it hurt.
As Aaliyah opened up to Dame, he learned just how dark the relationship with R. Kelly had been.
We were out on the road.
Dark. I go that dark word again.
On a tour bus, there really aren't any confined spaces. So it just so happened we were all laying in our bunks when the door flew open on the bus. What did you see? things that an adult should not be doing with a child.
Dame would do anything to protect Aaliyah, but his partnership with Jay put him in a difficult position.
You ever have beef with R. Kelly while you was with Aaliyah?
She just wanted it left alone. So that's the thing that people would be like when Jay was doing videos with him, I was be in the video, but I'd be like, yo, what do you want me to do? And she'd be like, don't start nothing, just don't be in no shots with him.
She didn't want to deal with the bullshit. Like the things that had happened in the past, she told me leave it alone. I would have to respect her wish no matter what. And her wish was leave it alone, let me heal, let me rest, I'm in love, let's just enjoy this.
As their relationship grew, everyone around them could see how much Dame and Aaliyah meant to each other.
You know, the thing was, she was gone a lot. So the time that we had together, I mean, it was like we appreciated it.
They were in heaven. Nothing from the outside really got in their way. And she was so happy. She was so happy.
It was like the first kind of time that she had found this kind of peace and happiness, and the same thing for me. I didn't know what being in love was. I didn't even understand what that feeling is. And I was able to really achieve that with her, so now I know what it feels like.
So you were in love with her?
Yeah, completely.
What was your last conversation with her?
I didn't want her to do the video.
Which video?
She was shooting a video in Miami. And I had my son and my nephews with me. And, you know, she was very supportive. So I was like, all right, I'm going to come down there. I'll bring the kids, make a vacation, work, the whole nine. Remember she used to babysit you?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun with Aaliyah.
But when Aaliyah told Dame that she had to fly to the Bahamas to finish the video, he was desperate for her to stay.
I told her, like, I didn't want her to go, and that's kind of because that was one of the reasons why she was in such a rush to get back. And even when she got on the plane, she didn't like the plane. So, like, one of our last texts was, I don't like the plane. And I literally was like, don't get on it. I literally was like, don't get on it.
And if I'd have been an asshole that day and really stood behind what I believed in, she wouldn't have got on that plane.
Hollywood lost a rising star with the death of 22-year-old R&B star Aaliyah.
Tell me about that day. Where were you? I was getting my hair cut, and I was waiting for her. She was trying to get back really quickly because we were trying to see each other.
The small twin-engine Cessna erupted into a fiery nosedive just minutes after leaving the Bahamas, where Aaliyah was shooting an upcoming music video.
It was probably out of commission plane. Needed repairs.
She said she had a 15-man called and said that there was a plane crash and Lee was in it, and once I heard it, I knew it was true.
My cousins and I all heard it, and there was like 10 of us were just all crying down the line. And then I saw my dad, he was just devastated. I actually never saw him that low. I feel like emotionally he had hit rock bottom. It was probably like one of the worst days we ever had.
You also said that her death, it changed you, turned you into a mom.
Yeah, it made me feel this. Because I know what real pain feels like, and I've dealt with it. It can't be nothing worse than that.
We actually have a video at her funeral where you're very emotional. Remember that day?
I don't revisit it often because it hurts. But a lot was going on in that moment. I mean, I still had to get myself together and fight because there were things that were going on.
Dame barely had time to grieve when just 5 months after Aaliyah's death, Jay-Z did the unthinkable.
Just the idea of having a whole album with myself and R. Kelly.
Always a common denominator.
Best of both world tours come to a city near you.
Best of both worlds, t-shirts, drawers, condoms, everything. How do you deal with that when someone you respect does some that you don't with at all? You gotta remember, once I knew Aaliyah, I knew everything. So yeah, if me and you cool, and you know that I got a girl that your man, and I tell you, and you like, you gonna still work with him, what you gonna feel? So what you think I felt?
Even as new allegations came out, Jay looked the other way.
Kelly is accused of videotaping himself having sex with an underage girl. Prosecutors maintain the girl in the video was as young as 13 when it was made.
I mean, I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that. I know I am.
Always a common denominator.
Your partner. He's not my partner. Look how my partner played me. You calling him my partner? Publicly, that man did a record with that my girl and then went on a tour with him. But I had to look the other way. And because my girl said leave it alone, I left it alone.
You left it alone.
Dame couldn't break his promise to Aaliyah, but his anger was spiraling out of control.
Rumors of a growing rift between Jay-Z and Dame Dash. The Rockefeller CEO was caught crashing a marketing meeting at parent company Def Jam, accusing executives of trying to cut him out.
This is treacherous. I'm telling you, I'm sick of this. I seen all of y'all yesterday. Why nobody told me about a marketing plan about Jay-Z? How do y'all call a meeting about Jay-Z without Rockefeller? There ain't even nobody from Rockefeller in here.
Now, we're gonna reschedule that.
What the you mean you're gonna reschedule?
Reschedule, man.
What you mean you're gonna reschedule? You get the out. You're not a leader. You don't know about my culture. You don't know about Jay.
Dame was struggling to hold on to the one thing he had left, so he didn't see what was coming.
They don't give a That's all they do is exploit. So they trying to take our franchise from us.
You know about the Scarface party and all that?
No. Jay's performing for that? Stop taking that shit.
Jay-Z is moving on from Rockefeller Records and former partner Dame Dash as he steps into his new role as president and CEO of Def Jam.
It's not a beef, it's just growing. And sometimes growing means growing apart. It's just part of life, it's part of growing up.
You know what's crazy about that meeting? In my heart, I had no idea that Jay set that meeting up, but he set that meeting up.
As Jay-Z left Dame behind, people couldn't understand why Dame was stuck in the past.
Dame is abrasive. Dame burned a lot of bridges.
I burned bridges so I don't have to go back.
I think that Dame is bitter now because Jay-Z is a fully megastar brand, married to Beyonce. Aaliyah is gone.
Will you please let Aaliyah rest? Will you let her die?
Even as Dame tried to move on, he couldn't let go of his pain over Aaliyah.
Everything that scared me is losing people I love, and everyone that I really love, I've lost. So what it's made me be the animal that I am is that I don't want to sit down and think about the things that are hurting me.
Your secrets are about things you don't express to people. When it comes to feelings, you don't get to go around the feelings. You have to go through them.
When he got with Beyonce.
When an explosive documentary exposed R. Kelly, Dame came face to face with the pain he'd been holding back.
Allegations made by more than a dozen women in the surviving R. Kelly docuseries, accusing the singer of holding them captive, brainwashing them. Prosecutors say 3 of his alleged victims were minors.
I can't really talk about being abused. It's like, it brings back memories, and it's very painful to have to talk about it again.
I wish that Aaliyah's family would speak. Because I think there are so many young black girls who've been hurt. That what it would mean to know that Aaliyah was hurt that way too.
I can't stress to you enough how people are still suffering behind
people are still suffering things that went on.
You know, I watched some of it yesterday, as much as I could tolerate. There was a girl, and when she was even trying to talk about it, she couldn't. Yeah. And I remember Aaliyah trying to talk about it, and she couldn't.
Executive producer of Surviving R. Kelly, Dream Hampton, says the music industry is still protecting the R&B star. It was incredibly difficult to get people who had collaborated with Kelly to come forward. We asked Lady Gaga, we asked Celine Dion, we asked Jay-Z.
Everyone keeps looking the other way. Period. Everyone has all these morals and principles, but when it behooves them, they look the other way, and I'm not cool with that. The test of honor isn't convenient. Honor is when it's inconvenient.
And this time, Dame had to face his pain so he could do what was right.
It's time for us to take responsibility for empowering and looking the other way all those years.
Aaliyah's former boyfriend, Damon Dash, is one of the first celebrities to publicly speak out against R. Kelly.
If, like, people would have protected Aaliyah, so many other girls wouldn't have got touched. Like,
right
Aaliyah
there.
was like the sacrificial lamb for
that
all
right there.
She didn't deserve none of that. So this energy is an anger. This is energy for change. I'm going to change
People stop protecting the predator.
From trauma, which is a prison. I want to change the way we heal.
After 20 years, Dame's fight for Aaliyah finally got justice.
Singer R. Kelly sentenced to 30 years behind bars after his conviction on racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
This is a significant outcome.
My point in this is,
and especially for the survivors.
By remembering Aaliyah's lessons, friends, Dame built
For the
legacy
people,
that mattered most to him.
What do you want to be remembered as, man?
for the people who don't understand racketeering and sex trafficking, all you have to do is remember R. Kelly. The same thing that got Ira.
As a warrior, I fight for what I love.
Dame Dash is launching his own.
The same thing that got Ira, it's going to be the same thing that gets Diddy. So that's what it blows my mind that people keep saying, I don't see sex trafficking. Y'all didn't see sex trafficking with R. Kelly. And the jury of our peers saw what y'all couldn't see. The same. So when people try to get all brand new, like, where's the trafficking? Well, hell, where was the trafficking with Ira? He gonna get railroad. No. You should have been playing with people and taking their cookies. And then threatening them to expose them. Blackmailing. Yeah, you can't do that. Working them and not paying them. Threatening to blow up their cars. And then their car catch on fire. You can't do that. So just as a friendly reminder, that's why the thumbnail have them both. They got hit with the same charges. They was doing the same thing, but Diddy was doing more. Let's be clear. Diddy was doing more than R. Kelly. And guess who's gonna be coming up shortly? They're gonna be coming around the mountain when you come. Jay-Z gonna be hit with it too. Watch. You know, and it's just fascinating that he's always a common denominator. And he tried to get with Aaliyah too. When she was still a minor. He was a minor when he got with Beyonce. So that minor thing, you know, he can't act like he better. A Foxy Brown, minor. Wasn't it rumored that he gave her some nasty disease? Similar patterns. Like I said, a common denominator. Always okay with the freak offs, the wild parties, the exchange, man on man, girl, you know, all of that. And then when the feds come knocking, he leave. Like he said, I wasn't there. But you was at them freak offs that your homie recorded, 'cause he a freak like that. And some people say Beyonce is worse than the guys. I don't know if I believe that. I hope she ain't grooming females. But what, 2 weeks ago, I showed y'all where they was at a hotel or 5th, 16th floor, whatever floor, and they had them little kids in there. I wonder were they from Russia? From a foreign country, brought over, you know. But let's get back over here. Do you see the sex trafficking in R. Kelly? Because the same sex trafficking and Rico that they got him with, and got him, what, 30 years, is the same Rico they gonna get Diddy with. And Diddy did more. He did more. Cause I don't know, what was that, the escorts, traveling escorts across state lines, and he didn't get caught with some defaced guns. Has anybody seen Ava? Where Ava? The little white girl he adopted. Ava Barrios Combs. Where's she at? Oh, he had a minor too? But again, Diddy did more than Ira. I couldn't have imagined somebody being worse than Ira Kelly. Someone of color being worse than Ira Kelly. But Jay-Z knew about Ira, and Jay-Z knew about Diddy. And he was okay with them both. Because he was playing with the young girls too. And like Suge said, now he didn't want to say that. He didn't want to say. He didn't want to say. That's why all he could say is, it shouldn't be the only one. He should walk from it because it's a whole bunch of other people involved. And hell, it was done to him. And then he done screwed the top executives to get where he at. So he done upped his way to the top. And they called Cassie a hoe. Woo, baby. He was doing something strange for a piece of change in the title, baby. And what should I say? And it wasn't with females. He upped his way to the top with the male executives. The T. and Ray J too. The T. Let's get on back over here. Let's see.
Her, suspended her without pay, threatened her that if you don't call me in 2 minutes, I'm going to tell everything.
Pressure got quiet, didn't he? He don't like you talking about Jay-Z.
Alleged victim number 4.
That's his crush. Don't talk about Jay-Z. He went quiet, didn't he? He said, I have the right to remain silent. Woo! Yes, indeed, Haunted. The movie's so long, I burnt my popcorn. What movie? This movie, what you talking about? You should have said the tea was so hot, you burnt it. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't be bringing nobody else's name over here. Come on, I'm trying to get to it.
Social media.
Yeah, let me stay right there. Oh, okay. Every time I go too fast. Oh, that's pretty. Excuse me. Please hit the like button, y'all. Come on. Baby, that was some tea, Barbara. Dang it, when I move it up.
Today about what the value is of the testimony of all these assistants. It's not necessarily that they're co-conspirators, but they're also witnesses who maybe corroborate the account of Cassie Ventura, victim number 1 in this case. Alleged victim number 4. She testified yesterday that she was the victim of...
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. I want to hear what he said in the beginning. Baby, I started talking about Jay-Z. He got the hell on up out of here, didn't he? I don't know why he coming. They finna get that ass. They letting them think the coast is clear. But there's some cute cowboy boots. Oh, them cute, but them too high. I don't need them with a heel. God out.
And by the way, these assistants, and we're actually have a side today about what the value is of the testimony of all these assistants. It's not necessarily that they're co-conspirators, but they're also witnesses who maybe corroborate the account of Cassie Ventura, victim number 1 in this case, but they also help to prove the underlying crimes of racketeering. Racketeering conspiracy, prosecutors need to prove at least 2 underlying crimes of a pattern of criminal activity. So forced labor, kidnapping, arson, sex trafficking, bribery. Mia, crucial witness. But what's happening today? Well, she started with the continuation of her direct examination by the prosecutor. She basically said that Combs had continued to threaten her, suspended her without pay, threatened her that if you don't call me in 2 minutes, I'm going to tell everything. You're fired. Basically,
that don't remove mental health. That don't remove the trauma.
In relation to some sort of show she had scripted, and that he was going to make sure it didn't happen. I thought there was something really.
Are you crazy? Like I said, you don't have no empathy. You don't have no understanding.
In place and time. That after Cassandra Ventura had filed her infamous lawsuit against Diddy in November of 2023, she claims D-Rock, a central associate of Sean Combs, had called her, said that Puff misses you. She thought that this was a way to see if she was going to come forward with her allegations, that she would be a threat, that there was maybe an offer that she'd be given money, maybe to stay silent, and that Combs had texted her in February of 2024 to talk to her. So that's really close in time to what we're talking about. And I wonder, does this amount to obstruction? Does this amount to bribery?
Yeah, you have people calling.
Yes, but she claims that this whole situation, she suffers from PTSD. Well, what has been happening under cross-examination? Well, Brian Steele has been questioning her about social media posts that would appear to be inconsistent with her description of what she went through. That there were pictures that she posted with Sean Combs, that there were pictures from Burning Man, for example, where she is posting these pictures even though she claims she was forced to take drugs. She claims that Combs sexually assaulted her, yet she writes, "Thank you for giving me an extended family for life. I love you." That she called him a mentor, a brother. There's this one exchange that just happened a little while ago. Combs' account.
I haven't been to the grocery store in over a year, but I'm eating healthier than ever. Here's how I did it. Meal planning used to be...
up, having his way with you. Mia responds, I was in fear of upsetting him. The moments other than when we were best friends. How are you best friends with a man you say raped you? Ask my therapist. Complicated testimony. We're going to take your questions all on it. By the way, great questions coming in. Tia215, Aisha, it said, Jesse, come on, where are you? I'm here. We started the show. Now, I think we have both of our guests with us right now as we wait for Elizabeth Milder to come on. So I'm joined by Serena Townsend, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, and Tyler Bailey, criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney. Thank you both so much for coming on. Tyler, I'll start with you. Obviously, Mia is an important witness. Is this cross-examination just destroying her credibility or no?
It's hurting her credibility, but I don't believe it's destroying her credibility. Her testimony yesterday that we heard about working, for example, for 5 days without sleep, her being in the bed and Mr. Combs allegedly going into bed and having his way with her, I think that's consistent with what we've heard already. She also testified about witnessing some of the abuse that Ms. Ventura went through. Now, on cross-examination, she's getting hit. She's losing some face, but right now we're talking about social media posts. A lot of times people put things that aren't actually accurate on social media just so they can look like they're living a lifestyle. So it's not hard to see Mia doing that, riding around and flying around with Mr. Combs here.
All right, and not want people to know what she actually went
This is
through.
another example of, this is not a clean-cut case for the prosecution where, it's the same thing with Cassie Ventura. They're saying she was sex trafficked for years by Sean Combs. Yet there's messages that indicate she was setting up the freak-offs, that she encouraged them, that she admitted she had one more consensual encounter with Sean Combs after he allegedly raped her. But look, there are complicating factors here. It is complicated relationships regarding trauma bonding.
So I think that could
abusers. We learned about this during the testimony of a forensic psychologist, Dr. Dawn Hughes. It's not so simple, but at the same time, the prosecution is yet once again asking the jury. They're claiming this, and even though there's behavior that would suggest otherwise, you have to look past that. What do you think the jury might be struggling with here, if they're struggling with it?
I definitely think a jury is struggling. I think they're hearing, the way that things are framed by the prosecution, and then they're seeing actual text messages, actual content of conversations that were had outside of the courtroom. It's this type of idea of like, dance when nobody's watching. What do you do when nobody is watching? And sometimes those text messages are held to a higher level of credibility because, the defense is going to say they were just putting on a show for you, jurors. They were just saying certain things to you because they have a reason to say it now that they know someone's listening. But that those text messages or those social media posts are really the truth. The jury is absolutely going to have to struggle with deciding which version of the story is accurate.
Okay, so not only do we get to take everybody's questions about Mia's testimony, about this case in general, keep them coming, we'll answer them here on air. We also put up polls on YouTube. For example, there's this poll. Do you think the jury will be impacted positively or negatively by victim 4's social media posts of Diddy? We'll see what the posts
I don't take nobody's cookie.
Result in. But I want to go now, Tyler, to...
I don't take nobody's dangling.
Shop Girl.
And I don't justify it when somebody does it. You justify it.
It doesn't have to be made public. I mean, it'll be her true identity is known to the parties who are involved in this case and the lawyers who are involved, but it does not have to be known to the general public.
Yeah, he made a whole bunch of them. He doing what Diddy do and making it somebody else's fault for the reason he think the way he think. I ain't buying that.
That's the biggest. I think
he don't want me.
She has.
See, that's what they do. They don't want.
That's going to be an ultimate decision.
He don't want me to understand. He don't want me to call him out. One thing you know about predator-minded people, they don't like being exposed. They don't like being called out. It is what it is. Abusers don't like to be, called out. Narcissists don't like to be called out. I'm going to call your ass out. If you act like a predator, you talk like a predator, there's a great chance you have predator ways in you, period. If you justify those actions and you make the females or men the victim, you're the victim. It's just like Don. I have a problem with Dawn. I have a problem with Dawn. Because she gave Q that pill for Diddy. I have a problem for a female predator. I have no respect of person. A predator is a predator, male or female. I have a problem. Let me repeat. I have a problem with that. And he's traumatized because he was violated. I'm not going to make excuses
the outcome of
for her because he a guy. I'm not going to say he a fool. I'm not going to say he wanted it anyway. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call a predator. Period. See the difference? I'm not going to justify a predator. And if you know that Diddy drug people, why would you give your dude a pill from Diddy? And he gave you one, but you didn't take it. But you watched him, you set him up. Yeah, all of this is the same thing. Dawn got on the witness stand. She got on the witness stand. But she got on the witness stand and didn't bring up Q. Because she gave Q the pill. We wouldn't have never known had it not triggered. Yeah. So no, I'm not gonna sit up here on my platform and people. I'm not talking about you. You talking about the other person I removed. I'm not gonna sit here and do that, especially and you come in here and I speak and you pumping up a predator. No. Go over there where they all about the predators. There's a whole bunch of people over there pumping up the predators. Cause no don't mean no to them. They gonna follow the blueprint. Just like R. Kelly, all of them follow somebody. Clive Davis, Einstein, Epstein, I don't know who blueprint they followed. But how they're working out for them right now. So you can say what you want to say. I am not going to pat the back of a predator. And I am looking at Dawn as a predator. Or she allowed somebody to take advantage of her dude. And that is messed up to me. That's messed up. But you suing him for him overworking you and SAing you. And your dude woke up screaming from a pill that you gave him. While Diddy and his crew, his security, Roger Bonds, recording him laughing at him. Yeah. I'm not gonna promote no predator. And I believe he's a predator. That don't mean the girls are perfect. They just believe the hype. They were pimped. I called it what it is. They were pimped. Taken advantage of. Lied and manipulated to. And Cassie was groomed because she was a minor. She was a minor. And I am talking about R. Kelly because that's why he on my thumbnail. That's why he's in my title. So I'm talking about both of them because they are very similar in the same racketeering in trafficking that got Ira is going to get Diddy, and hopefully Jay-Z too. Okay. Did you see my title? Did you see my thumbnail? I'm talking about more than one case. Okay.
Being publicly known by the general public, outside of the people in the courtroom.
By the way, we're showing these photos, the courtroom sketches. Her face is deliberately
she was a baby.
blurred out. With our reporting, we've made sure not to describe.
She was still a teenager.
Characteristics that would reveal her
She was
identity.
19.
This is a situation you see in these kinds of alleged sexual assault or abuse cases. We've got a question here from Olivia E. I'll throw it to you, Serena.
Oh, Lord.
I thought there was something really interesting toward the end of her
Who did
direct
I miss
examination
coming
that's more,
in?
in place
Hi,
and time.
Peach.
That after Cassandra Ventura had filed her infamous lawsuit against Diddy in November 2023, she claims D-Rock, a central associate of Sean Combs, had called her, said that Puff missed
His name done came up a lot, D-Rock.
A way to see if she was going to come forward with her allegations, that she would be a threat, that there was maybe an offer that she'd be given money, maybe to stay silent, and that Combs had texted her in February of 2024 to talk to her. So that's really close in time to what we're talking about, and I wonder, does this amount to obstruction? Does this amount to bribery? We're going to talk about
in 2024, yeah, because he knew he was.
This whole
the feds was looking for him.
She suffers from PTSD. Well, what has been happening under cross-examination? Well, Brian Steele has been questioning her and questioning her about social media posts that would appear to be inconsistent with her description of what she went through. That there were pictures that she posted with Sean Combs, that there were pictures from Burning Man, for example, where she is posting these pictures even though she claims she was forced to take drugs.
Oh, yes, they do.
She claims that Combs sexually assaulted her, yet she writes, "Thank you for giving me an extended family for life. I love you." That she called him a mentor, a brother.
He be at them parties.
He
be in there with them kids.
Combs counsel Brian Steele asks her, "How do you forget about waking up with a man on top, having his way with you?"
So go out and come back in and speak, Floyd. Don't come in here running your mouth and not speaking. Let's delete this, and you come in respectfully.
Therapist. Complicated testimony. We're going to take your question.
Now I know you men don't. Y'all think that y'all should be able to move any kind of way. But boo-boo, this is the females platform. Okay? And when you come in here as a guest, you speak. Okay? Before you uplift another dude. Get out of his ASS. Can you do that? Now, if you're going to stay over here today, you're going to go back out and come back in and speak first. If not, go on over there and keep eating up in Sean Carter's ass. Okay? But you speak when you come over here. Ass eater.
All on it. By the way, great question coming in.
Don't press the stop.
215 Aisha said, "Jesse, come on, where are you?" I'm here. We started the show. Now, I think we have both of our guests with us right now.
You don't run nothing over here.
So I'm joined by Serena Townsend, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, and Tyler Bailey, criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney. Thank you both so much for coming on. Tyler, I'll start with you. Obviously, Mia is an important witness. Is this cross-examination just destroying her credibility or no?
It's hurting her credibility, but I don't believe it's destroying her credibility. Her testimony yesterday that we heard about working, for example, for 5 days without sleep, her being in the bed and Mr. Combs allegedly going into bed and having his way with her, I think that's consistent with what we've heard already. She also testified about witnessing some of the abuse that Ms. Ventura went through. Now, on cross-examination, she's getting hit. She's losing some face, but right now we're talking about social media posts. A lot of times people put things that aren't actually accurate on social media just so they can look like they're living a lifestyle. So it's not hard to see Mia doing that, riding around and flying around with Mr. Combs here.
Well, here's the problem, right, Serena? This is another example of...
And they don't know each other.
...cut case for the prosecution where, it's the same thing with Cassie Ventura. They're saying she was sex trafficked for years by Sean Combs. Yet there's messages that indicate she was setting up the freak-offs, that she encouraged them, that she admitted she had one more consensual encounter with Sean Combs after he allegedly raped her. But look, there are complicating factors here. It is complicated relationships regarding trauma bonding, regarding why victims may stay with their abusers. We learned about this during the testimony of a forensic psychologist, Dr. Dawn Hughes. It's not so simple, but at the same time, the prosecution is yet once again asking the jury, they're claiming this, and even though there's behavior that would suggest otherwise, you have to look past that.
I mean, I hit you back.
Might be struggling with here if they're struggling with it.
In my mind, it's
I
over.
definitely think a jury is struggling. I think they're hearing, the way that things are framed by the prosecution, and then they're seeing actual text messages, actual content of conversations that were had outside of the courtroom. It's this type of idea of like dance when nobody's watching. What do you do when nobody is watching? And sometimes those text messages are held to a higher level of credibility because, the defense is going to say they were just putting on a show for you, jurors. They were just saying certain things to you because they have a reason to say it now that they know someone's listening. But that those text messages or those social media posts are really the truth. The jury is absolutely going to have to struggle with deciding which version of the story is accurate.
Okay, so not only do we get to take everybody's questions about Mia's testimony, about this case in general, keep them coming, we'll answer them here on air. We also put up polls on YouTube. For example, there's this poll. Do you think the jury will be impacted positively or negatively by victim 4's social media posts of Diddy? We'll see what the poll results result in. But I want to go now, Tyler, to questions that we have coming in. So this is one from Shop Girl.
Right, Pete.
After the trial is over, doesn't Mia's identity have to be made public?
It doesn't have to be made public. I mean, it'll be her true identity is known to the parties who are involved in this case and the lawyers who are involved, but it does not have to be known to the general public. There's likely a confidentiality order that's allowing her to proceed under the pseudonym. Does she breach her own confidentiality that she's been granted through this case? That's the biggest, I think, risk that she has to her identity being publicly known by the general public outside of the people in the courtroom.
By the way, we're showing these photos, the courtroom sketches. Her face is deliberately blurred out. With our reporting, we've made sure not to describe any physical characteristics that would reveal her identity. This is a situation you see in these kinds of alleged sexual assault or abuse cases. We've got a question here from Olivia E. I'll throw it to you, Serena. What's the defense trying to do with their cross-exam of Mia? Are they trying to insinuate she lied about her assaults because she continued associating with him?
Yeah, I mean, a huge tactic of defense attorneys in these types of cases is to provide prior inconsistent statements of a witness in order to dissect their credibility and argue to a jury at the end of the day that although she's saying and swearing under oath to certain things, you can't believe what she's saying because either she has said something differently in the past or because her actions betray her, essentially. The pictures of her looking very happy with him or videos of her saying complimentary things about him contradict her testimony. Now, obviously, the prosecution is going to say that it doesn't contradict, that, not all social media posts are true, or that she was acting under PTSD, or she was acting under extreme duress. So there's ways around it, but the whole point of the defense doing this is, yes, to contradict the testimony that she's giving.
By the way, Serena, she said on the stand, ask my therapist. Could they subpoena her therapist, have her testify? You think that'd be a wise decision?
That's very interesting. I think that there would be a lot of litigation behind the scenes before a therapist would be allowed to testify regarding the content, because there's certain confidential things that were definitely said in those sessions. And it sounds like she made that remark kind of off the cuff or in a flippant way. And, if I were her lawyer, I would be like, don't offer that up, because I'm sure she said a lot of things to her therapist that she doesn't want coming out in a courtroom.
Sure. I don't think and to be clear, she's not saying, literally ask my therapist, but I think it was she's making a point here. Question from Lisa5472 at Jesse Weber. Doesn't it hurt the defense if they go after Mia too hard after what she's been through? That's a good point, Tyler. I remember covering the Harvey Weinstein trial. I was very curious, a different kind of case, but I was wondering how defense attorneys were going to cross-examine the victims that were coming forward and testifying against him. It's a very tricky dance. I mean, could it turn the jury off? Does it hurt the defense if they, go after her too hard? What do you think?
They can't take it too far, but they need to take it far enough that the jury can possibly come to the conclusion that she's just not credible in her testimony. Dancing around it completely wouldn't be good for Mr. Combs' defense, but if they take it too far, where this case is more so about making Mia just look terrible on the stand versus getting back to the heart of the case, I think it runs the risk of them seem like the high-powered bullies for the defendant here.
Right.
Serena, got a question coming in from Poke and Poll. How come there are no abuse charges, even with videos of Cassie being beaten on videos? Is that because of the Cassie settled the separate lawsuit before this trial?
That is a good question. I don't think it's because of the lawsuit being settled. Certainly, you could still prosecute somebody for a crime, even if they were pursued civilly. I think that it was probably an intentional strategic decision on the part of the prosecution. Assault charges are lower level, technically, than the charges that he's facing. And so it's a way of telling a jury, like, this is the worst of the worst. This is what he did, and this is what we want you to convict him of. They don't want a jury to compromise and say, oh, we'll just give him the misdemeanor assault. That would be a horrible result for the prosecution. So they want to go full force.
And there were statute of limitation issues on the state charges. I mean, they couldn't even bring charges with respect to the 2016 incident. It was time barred. So one of the criticisms.
And you can't put domestic violence on a co-worker.
That would have made sense for lower level state charges, but you're transforming
domestic violence is not for the people that work for him.
Complicated sex trafficking case, and they're saying, even though Sean Combs might be a bad guy, a domestic abuser, engaged in domestic violence, it's not sex trafficking. It's not racketeering. It doesn't meet those elements. That's going to be their argument, but obviously the prosecution disagrees. We'll take a quick break. We're going to get back to more of your questions. The reason we're taking a break is because we're going to get on Elizabeth Milner.
And the sex trafficking is not with Mia.
So all of this testimony today. We'll be back with her in a minute. Stay with us.
Why do people keep forgetting that? Let's be clear.
Closing arguments and how each side.
Hold on. People are getting it twisted. The sex trafficking part is not about Mia as far as her being used or pimped out. The sex trafficking part comes in with the triple X escorts. So there's no domestic violence there. So that's why it's not about domestic violence. She's a co-conspirator. I don't know how many times I have to keep telling y'all that. The sex trafficking part has everything to do with the escorts. Can y'all say it with me? The escorts, the 13 escorts that traveled, a couple of them traveled across state lines. Not Cassie. Hers would be the force when she was trying to leave. And he made her continue. The coercion. They got him on sex trafficking because of the escorts. Y'all tripping. Y'all got it twisted.
And welcome back to Law and Crime, everybody. I said we'd be back in a minute. We are, and we are here with Elizabeth Milner, our in-court reporter who has been there for
DV don't have nothing to do with it.
In this case, including the testimony of Mia today. Elizabeth,
she was DV, but they don't have nothing to do with this lawsuit.
With the direct examination, and I want you to pick out some of the highlights from when the prosecutor was questioning Mia, again, alleged victim number 4 in the Sean Combs case. And by the way, I'll throw this question to you. We have this question from the Expat Exchange. Can you ask Elizabeth how the jury's reacting to Mia on the witness stand? I've read reports that some jurors are crying or visibly shaken. So,
they was crying
let's hit
yesterday.
both of those points. What did she say under direct? Then we'll move into cross. But what did she say under direct? And can you see how the jury's reacting at all?
Well, today was a little hard to kind of see the jury's reaction because it was another day of essentially a full courtroom. There were a lot of heads in there, a lot of people just wanting to know what Mia would be testifying to.
They want to see her too.
Of course, this morning started with her direct examination. So from what I could tell as far as just the jury's reaction overall, specifically during her direct examination, for what I could see, which was not very much, they were still just paying very close attention. I saw from what I could see some of the jurors writing notes, but sadly from the position I was inside the courtroom, I couldn't see their entire faces, so I couldn't see if they were reacting emotionally to some of her testimony. I think if anything was happening as far as an emotional reaction, it was definitely yesterday when she was especially testifying to the sexual assaults that she says that she endured just while on the job. But even just some points and some big points during the remainder of her direct today, the prosecution jumped back to October of 2015 when Mia was over in Cape Town, South Africa, with Diddy, and they were kind of explaining a whole bunch of text messages that Mia was essentially getting from Christina Coram and even people like Diddy himself, because they were essentially trying to get in touch with her to kind of talk to her and find out how Cassie's doing, where Cassie is. Because if you think about just that time frame, this was around the time frame Diddy's over in Miami. He was spotted out with Gina, and Cassie was pretty upset about this, and to the point where she just was not picking up Diddy's messages. And so Mia had explained that Cassie was devastated by getting sent this photo of Mia and Diddy together over in Miami, so she stopped answering Diddy's calls. So what did Diddy do? He had Christina Coram and other staffers try to get Cassie on the phone. We saw exhibit photos of a text message from October 26th of 2015 between Christina Coram and Mia, where Christina Coram is writing to Mia, "Hey, it's KK. Did you get those She wrote, "Hey, it's KK. Did you get these? PD wants to talk to you. Sorry, messenger, don't shoot." Mia responded, she just tried to call him, and then she's referring to is actually Cassie. Christina Coram responded, "Can you call me first? Audio call not completed." Mia said, "I just woke up. Did you ever explain to him being Diddy, what time it is? It's around 7:45 a.m. I have missed calls from 3:45 a.m. I will call you when we get to rehearsals. He doesn't sound in his right mind at the moment, so any reasoning should be in the a.m. your time." And Mia says around this time that Diddy had threatened to kill her and threatened her job, and even pretended to call HR on her at one point, and Christina Coram tried to intervene by saying, "Well, he just called me again, Mia. He just told me that if you don't call him in the next 2 minutes, you don't have a job." And Mia said she felt kind of panicked by this, and so she kind of responded back, "I just woke up to 48 missed calls. I keep waking up to a million calls. I answer the phone at all times. We aren't ignoring you. I'm just most likely asleep. This is really stressful. I'm not ignoring you." And so she said as far as returning from South Africa that she normally worked in the LA office, but she said after this return from this trip that Diddy wasn't physically around her when she returned, and that kind of made her
all women and men
requirements is to be kind of in his side, be near him, kind of
don't ever compromise yourself,
what he needs and that sort. And so she had explained that I wasn't allowed to make massive money decisions without his approval. She also said like I was letting people down, and projects were based on the relationships I formed, and she felt disappointed by this. Then we were kind of segueing into just the threats made to her job, where we saw an exhibit photo of kind of a memo informing Mia that she would be suspended for a 5-day period, to the point where she wasn't even being paid during this suspension. And so Mia said she was again suspended without
where is KK?
She was suspended without pay prior to notice before, and that Diddy had asked Mia to get him a lot of options as far as workout clothes, because this was what the memo was kind of in reference to, that it was normally the stylist job to lay out all his clothes and his different outfits for him. But Diddy just got so mad that he cursed out Mia. He got angrier and angrier, and Mia pointed out that, hey, there's other options over here if you want to look at these. But Diddy, and according to Mia, threatened her job once again. And so as far as just kind of where the direct examination sort of kind of ended, there was still a lot of stuff going in between, and I'm sure we'll get to that when we do our breakdown later today. But as far as where the direct kind of ended, they were talking again about kind of settlements and what happened, because essentially Mia was explaining that she left Revolt Films around 2016 because Diddy no longer wanted to pursue films, and this kind of left her without a job. And so she said that she was kind of encouraged to get a lawyer, so she got a lawyer to kind of pay for those overdue wages and just the bonuses that she had pretty much earned while on the job, but she didn't get paid these, and so she got a lawyer. And originally her attorneys got offered around $10 million, or they kind of pointed to this $10 million number as far as just kind of the amount this possible settlement could have. But she said the settlement actually ended up being $400,000, but she only got half of it because the other half went to her lawyers. And so she thought that she had told a couple instances of violence during these mediation talks, but she said, I thought I was doing something horrible. I thought I was breaking confidentiality. I thought I was telling his secrets. But the prosecution kind of ended that Mia didn't have any type of pending lawsuits with Diddy, but they also kind of referenced that even after Cassie's lawsuit was filed in November of 2023, all of a sudden Mia gets a text message from none other than D-Rock, and D-Rock was trying to get her in touch with Diddy. And it was interesting kind of hearing her perspective of it, because from her perspective, she said she didn't want to answer these calls. She didn't want to speak to Diddy. She felt threatened. She felt traumatized from the time that she was on the job, that she didn't want to reach out to him or message him back. So she kind of played along and tried to play dumb, according to her, just about, oh, I'm going to call him, don't worry, or I'm on a boat, I'm sorry I missed your call, just kind of trying to evade him, but also not get him too mad. But D-Rock kind of kept pushing to the point where he was even messaging her as late as February of just last year, essentially just wanting to talk to her. And it seemed interesting from her perspective, kind of that there was kind of this campaign kind of going on from the former staffers where they were trying to get in touch with her so they could kind of get, I guess, their story straight together and see how they could kind of put on a united front, as because again, around this time, Diddy's world is essentially collapsing because there are so many lawsuits being filed at this point. This was after Cassie's settled lawsuit, but still more trickling in. And so that's kind of where we ended on the direct examination. But there was still so much more even in the interim of that.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to address with our panel a little bit later is, could that be interpreted as either bribery or obstruction if they're reaching out to her after Cassie's lawsuit? Were they aware there was a federal investigation happening? I want to say, I seem to remember they might have gotten word that there was an investigation beginning in January of 2024. That time frame would be really interesting. So we'll put that to the side. What happened on Cross? Because I'm reading it, and I'm reading about these these social media posts. But it's different.
Stop calling them fools, pressure.
Like what is exactly
you get on my nerves
that are being that Mia's
victims? Period. They're not fools.
Well, the cross-examination is being conducted by none other than Brian Steele. So I was specifically wondering, how would he cross-examine her, especially after all the heavy testimony that we had heard just yesterday? And Brian Steele kind of came out on the attack. And so even before Mia is brought out, before the jury is brought in, because we kind of take a lunch break, or excuse me, we took a morning break in between the direct examination and the cross. So in that break, the defense is putting out a whole bunch of notebooks on the jury seats, and it's not necessarily a notebook. I should actually say it's a binder full of just different exhibits, photographs. I believe there's text messages in this binder, but they were laying all of these binders out. Then Mia's brought in, then cross-examination comes, and Brian Steele right out of the gate it says, so because of Mr. Combs, you suffered a great deal. Mia responds, yes. You have trauma working with Sean Combs, yes. He made you do things that are unthinkable. He was really kind of exaggerating his words here, and he violated you and he diminished you. And Mia responded true, or she responded yes. Brian Steele asked her, you wanted to kill yourself? And Mia had responded yes. And so he was coming off very kind of powerful and aggressive a little bit just right off the bat, which to me I found actually pretty surprising. And so then we start to get into the exhibits, and it's just a bunch of photographs, particularly from Mia's private Instagram account from Mia's account. And so we're seeing photos from back in 2013 where it's an image of Mia on social media from her personal account. Her face is blurred in, so we don't see her real face necessarily. But we see a caption of what we do when you're not around. And Mia's holding just kind of some bottles of Ciroc. Obviously, Diddy used to represent Ciroc as far as brand deals is concerned, and she hashtagged it Ciroc. The defense says, well, this was 4 years ago after your employment and after years of your sexual assault. And they were really kind of trying to drive the point that you had all these different photos with these really nice captions to Diddy. But again, these were years after this sexual assault occurred. And they specifically pointed out that this exhibit from November 4th of 2013. So this would have been a few years after the first sexual assault that happened at Diddy's birthday party over at that penthouse here in New York. And we see an exhibit photo from that same day, but in 2013, where it's a photo of Mia kind of pretending to be giving birth. Diddy's in a doctor's costume. And it was like I think it was a Funny or Die video that they were doing because Andy Samberg was directing it. And Mia wrote in this caption, last non-B-Day shout out to my mentor at I Am Diddy. Thank you for letting me give birth to my dreams. And Brian Steele was like, you posed with your rapist pretending to give birth. And it was really just kind of like, whoa. And I will say this, Jesse, is that when Brian Steele was like, oh, well, you were posing with your rapist, I saw one of the jurors just look from down to just being looked up. It really kind of grabbed your attention, just kind of how he was directing these lines of questioning. Mm-hmm. And so we saw a whole bunch of different photos. I would essentially call it a photo dump because it was just a lot of photos from Mia's personal Instagram account where she has posed either with Cassie or she's posed with Diddy, and she's tagging Diddy in these photos and saying very nice things of either happy birthday or I'm so glad to be around you or I'm so glad you're my mentor. You continue to like kind of build me up, these types of things. And so and that's kind of where we kind of were leaving off with, because it really was just a number of different exhibits. And I'm sure when we return from the lunch break, we'll see a whole lot more too.
By the way, we put up a poll. Do you think the jury will be impacted positively or negatively by Mia's social media posts of Diddy? 51% say positively, 48% say negatively. Very interesting. Before I let you go, Elizabeth, there's one concrete question I had outside of Mia. I don't know if you can answer it. Before she even got back on the stand, there was a back and forth regarding charts. And I think that's important, charts with respect to the prosecution, the defense, and the judge, because I think it had something to do with whether or not maybe male escorts were transported for purposes of these freak-offs, which, by the way, we don't talk about it enough. Transportation to engage in prostitution is another series of charges Combs is facing. Transporting alleged victims and sex workers for purposes of sex work. What was going on there about the charts, if you know? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was kind of a moment that stuck out to me this morning. It was outside the presence of the jury, and a lot of people, I will say, weren't taking notes because I don't think they realized kind of how important this possibly might be. But it was about the summary charts, specifically about the summary charts and the summary witness that is going to be kind of testifying towards the tail end of the government's case. And so the defense was kind of complaining about the government's summary charts and how they don't like that there's a category which labels the different men as escorts in this particular category when they're kind of comparing the flights as well as the hotel reservations. They said that they don't necessarily connect that this particular escort may have gone to the hotel, and they use the escort named Jules as an example of this. And so they said this is essentially, or excuse me, they said that this is pretty much just some travel records and that it doesn't necessarily prove anything. However, the government said, well, we can take out this category of escorts, but we still need to keep the names in. But the summary witness will pretty much say that that there was messages sent either from Cassie or from Diddy. I'm going to a hotel on this date, and then a flight would kind of correspond with these hotel reservations. And so that was kind of the gist of those discussions that happened outside of the presence of the jury this morning.
Elizabeth Milner, great reporting as always. I know you need to jump back in there. Thank you so much for your level of detail, being our eyes and ears. Great job as always.
Thanks, Jesse.
So they
You got it.
saying
Okay, I want to
Trump,
continue the conversation.
Trump
we
is
have more questions coming in. from our
considering
amazing audience. So we're gonna
pardoning
continue
Diddy.
with Nest Dog with his super chat question. Nest Dog, thank you so much. You've been so supportive as we've been doing these lunchtime shows. So thank you so much. I'll throw it to you, Serena. Does it still show the power dynamic aspect? Cassie, Deontay Nash, CC, probably Cassie, and currently Mia continue to associate with Puff. What do you make of that?
Yes, I do. I think that the defense is going to want to use that to say otherwise, that it's going to show voluntariness on their part. You know, now that there's no further connection or either relationship
Ain't
or
that
employment
nothing?
connection, they still choose to continue to be around P. Diddy. But if one believes all of the things that he did to each of these people and that each of these people still continued to associate themselves with him, then yeah, I think it's a fair argument for the prosecution to say that does go to show just how much power he has. And remember, just because somebody doesn't have a signed contract with somebody anymore, or, you know, an actual physical or emotional relationship with somebody anymore, does not necessarily mean that they lose their power over that person. This is a man with a ton of money, a ton of connections, and these are people who still operate within the same field, you know, the music business, videos, things like that. So he still could have had a ton of power over them, over their careers, and even over their safety.
There's a number of assistants who testified that they didn't get involved when they allegedly saw Combs beating up Cassandra Ventura. You had Capricorn Clark, who allegedly called Cassie's mom and said, like, I can't call. He's beating your daughter up. You can do something. And that, I think, helps explain or try to explain why Cassie, alleged victim number one, didn't do any, didn't leave him, didn't report his behavior to authorities. Because again, I go back to this, I say it so many times, but I think it's something the prosecution is going to really focus on. If the jury believes Dawn Richard's testimony that Cassie was beat up by Sean Combs in front of Usher and Neo and Jimmy Iovine and nobody does anything, and that none of the assistants do anything, it goes to the power of Sean Combs. It goes to what do you expect Cassie to do in this situation when she does not have that level of power or wealth or influence to do something. And again, the defense has a great defense here. I mean, they really are trying to strike at the credibility here. But at the same point, these are power dynamics and issues that I think the jury is going to wrestle with. Now, Tyler, I want to go to a question that I didn't get a chance to get to. This whole thing that Mia had testified to, that D-Rock reached out to her, Diddy reached out to her, February 2024, right? After Cassie filed her lawsuit. If I go to the racketeering charge and I look at all of the underlying crimes, prosecution needs to prove at least two. There is bribery of a witness and there is tampering with a witness, victim, or informant. Is that what this is?
It's not outright that, from what we can see. It could be argued by the prosecution that the attempts to contact her when they had an idea that there was possibly some federal or other criminal charges going to be coming down on Mr. Combs, that he was trying to influence her one way. But I think that the fact that they had their prior relationship, professional relationship and other forms of relationship, that there could be excuse as to why he was reaching out to her. It crosses the line. If that was my client at that time, I would advise him definitely do not reach out to anybody who could be a witness in this case, because the last thing you want is a witness tampering charge. It could be used, but it looks like he was dancing around it carefully here, and it could distract the jury from all the underlying strong evidence I believe the prosecution has.
And we all know he was accused by the government of engaging in shenanigans while he's behind bars at the MDC, allegedly using the operating systems to contact people he shouldn't be contacting. Let me just throw another question to you, Tyler. This is from Ivan Romero. Has there been a Rico trial specifically for labor law violations? It seems like this would set a very important precedent for these types of violations, if not. So has there been a Rico trial specifically for labor law violations? If you want to answer that, but also, do you think forced labor has been proven at this point in the trial as one of the underlying crimes?
Forced labor has definitely been proved.
I think forced labor has been proved. I think the government has put on a strong case of it. Just listen to Mia's testimony about the calls in Australia, or for the fact that she worked for 5 days without sleep and she was raped during that time that she has testified to. That's a strong case of forced labor. And even you're looking at the transporting of prostitutes, There's a lot that we see for sex trafficking and forced labor. But to answer that
Working
specific
20
question regarding
hours,
the Rico
4 hours of
charge for
sleep.
forced labor, I'm not specifically aware of those, but I do know there has been cases regarding Backpage and some hotels operators who have been charged with forced labor, forced prostitution for those type of operations, and there's probably some precedent already out there on it.
I mean, even the idea of, not only the hours that they worked, but the idea of what the consequences would be. And you go back to David James' testimony, who said basically Combs blackmailed him, that he had video of him dancing around on drugs and said, I'm going to keep this, And so this is all adds to a different narrative. Okay, I go to a question right now, Serena,
Tons of
that
evidence.
I think is why people have a lot of interest in this case. I think it's almost like Epstein. It's who's going to be named, who's going to testify. And with a sealed witness list, we don't know exactly, which is why Angelo Ignacio asks, do you think they will bring in some of Diddy's exes do you think they will bring in some of Diddy's exes in, like Jennifer Lopez, to see how he treated them? What do you think? Jennifer Lopez, other exes going to testify here?
I love that question. I don't think J-Lo is going to take the stand. I'd love for her to. That would be very cool. What the trial has to focus on is these exact charges, and what a prosecution is allowed to bring up has to be in relation to those charges, and they cannot be too prejudicial. What you're trying to essentially say is that you want to hear about other things that he's done in the past, prior bad acts. And there's a very fine line under the law what a judge will allow with respect to prior bad acts, because if it tips over to what we like to call propensity evidence, which is not allowed, which is evidence to say to a jury like, hey, this guy is just a really bad guy. He's done bad stuff in the past, and therefore you should just not give him the benefit of the doubt. You should assume that he's doing bad things now because he's done bad things before. That is a big no-no in the law. It's covered a lot. I know Jesse brought up the Harvey Weinstein case. That's why the Weinstein case got overturned, because they did too much of exactly that. So I don't think we're going to hear too much about his exes unless they have relevant testimony that exceeds the prejudicial value of their testimony.
Serena, I'm going to give you another question because I gave Tyler
I
two
agree.
questions. This is from Green Yoshi. Is there another kind of Yoshi? I thought Yoshi was always green, but I'm wrong. Okay, Green Yoshi. Can footage from making the band be used against him?
I love that question too. Again, it goes towards, prior acts. And so if it's relevant, if its relevance far exceeds its prejudicial value, then it's fair game. So depending on the things that were recorded, remember, there's probably a ton of tapes and a ton of recordings that we didn't see. There's a lot of stuff that gets recorded that doesn't necessarily get broadcast. So if there's information on those videos that could corroborate the charges in this case and that are relevant to the case rather than purely prejudicial against him, like, oh, he just made lewd comments or said mean things to people, it has to be directly relevant. So, if that exists, then it could potentially be an exhibit.
Yeah, this is not an indictment on his character. The defense is going to say he might have been a tough boss, he might have been mean, he might have screamed. You might even say that he assaulted people, but that doesn't necessarily prove sex trafficking or racketeering or transportation to engage in prostitution. They're going to be very, very specific about these charges. And I think, I've said it before, I've said it again, I think this entire case, closing arguments, how you explain what the law is, how each side says it either matches up to the elements or not. It's a confusing case. I think if you're sitting in this jury, they're trying to take away what they have to take away. I don't think they put all the pieces together. It's not like a murder case. We're like, okay, I see where the prosecution and defense are going, whether this person did it or not. This is complicated. I mean, racketeering has so many different parts to it. Okay, Tyler, this is a question from Nlind DK. Will anyone from HR testify? Doesn't their lack of doing their job, accountability in relation to all the complaints support Rico? It's an interesting question.
That is a good question. Most always look at HR as the underlying operation for the corporation. They are really on the side of the business, not necessarily on the side of the employee. If they had information, let's say someone who's head of an ER who knew about specific facts that are furthering the prosecution's case. I could see somebody from the prosecution and the government calling one of them as witnesses, but they may not be aware to this because it seems like Mr. Combs had his own underlying criminal operation that he was running with other folks like D-Rock or those who were closer to him, and he kind of kept some things away from Bad Boy to Business. We heard testimony early on about how some things were written off as transactions from Bad Boy, but other things were paid for with cash. So it shows that Mr. Combs was selective on how he ran his operations, some going through his business, but some he was taking care of under the table, for lack of better words.
I mean, David James testified that when he started the job, a member of HR told him, "This is Sean Combs' kingdom. We're all here to serve it."
Facts.
So, you know, if that person testifies and says that, that would be important. Again, racketeering, criminal enterprise, common purpose, everybody, you know, agreement to further criminal activity. That would be helpful, I would imagine. Okay, you mentioned pay. So now I go to Serena. We got a question from Patty D. Since they're bringing up pay, do you think the prosecution will submit any kinds of payroll information to support how little they were paid versus hours?
I think that would be a great idea. I think obviously part of the argument, as we've been discussing, is the fact that it's labor relation issue, right? They're working, them to the bone. They're not
Hi,
sleeping.
Michael.
They're calling at all hours of the night. And this low amount of pay doesn't reflect the amount of expectations, the high expectations that were submitted there. And so in order to support their claims, the prosecution's claims, and really in any charge, in order to support testimony, it would be a very good idea to have black and white evidence, paper trail evidence, receipts, payroll. I do think that if they have information like that, if they have low pay and it's documented somewhere, that of course assumes that it was documented somewhere and that the government got their hands on it, then sure, anything that could buttress the testimony of a witness to help their credibility would be a great exhibit to show to a jury.
By the way, so not only are we taking your questions right now in real time, but also in real time, as soon as they come back, as soon as that testimony continues, I will be relaying to you what is happening in real time. I'll report it in real time, and we will break down the legal significance of this questioning in real time. But we got more questions coming in. This one's from Ashley Glass. I throw it to you, Tyler. I know I have asked recently, but again, D-Rock is mentioned multiple times in this case. Why haven't we seen him on the stand?
Drum roll, we don't know. He could be called sometime next. I think D-Rock will eventually show up in this case. He seems to be intimately involved with Mr. Combs' affairs. You've heard media talk about fielding phone calls from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's called by the government at some point in this case.
Got a Leg 7K, who's been so generous with their questions and always engaging in the conversation, says no questioning for me today, Jesse. Okay, well, maybe Monday. Serena got a question from Q4554Q. I like what they did there. Why did we know so much about this case, but nothing about Epstein? Okay, throw a little curveball at you.
Okay, I love curveball. I love, making these kind of assumptions on these cases. I think that, first of all, I mean, it is a really good question. I think maybe there were more people willing to leak information in the Diddy case. Maybe it's spread out to more individuals than the Epstein individuals. And maybe there are just more people in the Diddy environment who were not themselves totally guilty of crimes. And maybe the people who were involved in the Epstein case, even the fact that they were involved kind of makes them feel, at least by association, guilty, right? One could argue that they know what was going on with Diddy because they happened to be at a party, or they happened to be in the music business, or they happened to see him or one of the people that he worked with, and therefore they have information to share. And that wouldn't necessarily make them a potential co-defendant or also guilty. But I feel like anybody who's associated with Epstein, why would they be associated with Epstein if they're not themselves working with him on something? Like, why would a person be on Epstein's island unless they are a member of Epstein's family? Or, it just feels like anybody who was involved with Epstein would want to keep their mouths totally shut, because they wouldn't have gotten access to information about Epstein Island unless they themselves were involved in a bad way.
So
It
there's a couple, it's a comparison, right? Like just because you were associated with Diddy or just because you went to a Diddy party doesn't mean you were part of an illegal freak off or racketeering activity.
Sure.
And the same thing with Epstein. By the way, I think the other comparison is how is it that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of these sex trafficking charges when the major question is she was the only one charged. Who was she sex trafficking these minor victims to, right? Where are those people, right? And so the question is, how is Sean Combs being charged with racketeering conspiracy? You have to have an agreement with others and use the resources in your associates, and yet he's the only one charged, which is why sometimes these assistants are being questioned. Well, did you take immunity? Did you get a proffer agreement? Okay, Tyler, got another question from Shop Girl. Could you please explain the it only takes one juror thing? Is that to convict him or acquit?
That's a good question. So you need a unanimous jury verdict for there to be a conviction. So it only takes one. You can have one juror who just will not side with the remaining jurors, and that's not enough jurors to get a conviction. You can have a jury that's
and it'll be a retrial. It does not go away.
4 who want to convict and 4 who are
he don't walk
acquitting the defendant. If that happens, then there's a mistrial can be declared. So sometimes people think you got to win all 12 jurors. You really just need one. You need one juror on the side of the defense who maybe is not sold on the government's case for convicting the defendant. And if that's the case, then you can't get a unanimous jury verdict to convict the defendant.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, and that's why you don't know what this case would look like. And
that's why he got 3 charges.
It was a hung jury. You think they retry him?
Oh yeah.
It's a great question, and it does, and you have to think of that strategy.
Absolutely.
Because every single time there is a mistrial or a hung jury, a prosecution has to make that decision, and it is not an easy decision to make. Do I think they retry him? I mean, if it weren't Diddy,
oh yeah, he's still
maybe
gone.
not. The amount of resources that they have to accumulate and the amount of time and money that has been spent on this case is astronomical. It'll depend on their appetite. Sometimes after a mistrial, they try, they kind of regroup, they go back and they say,
they got 3 different ones. He is already on the guns. He is going to prison.
Not worth it. They might end up offering him a more attractive plea deal than he was offered before this trial. So we'll see. But
he's going for the guns. He may not go for life, but he is going to prison.
Here's a good question for you, Tyler. This is from
they cannot. That one person.
Sean Combs' assistant Christina. Why hasn't Sean?
That one person cannot disagree with the guns being defaced.
Trying to get a hold of Mia.
He's going for at least 15 years.
In this, in the sense that
he may not go for life, but he's going to prison.
During the course of this trial.
Sorry to tell y'all that.
I don't know if she's going to testify.
Now I don't know why they playing around the answer.
There's evidence that she's a co-conspirator.
What they say?
She may be a co-conspirator, and she could still be charged.
To leak information in the Diddy case. Maybe it's spread out to more individuals than the Epstein individuals. And maybe there are just more people in the Diddy environment who are not themselves totally guilty of crimes. And maybe the people who were involved in the Epstein case, even the fact that they were involved kind of makes them feel
he out of here for the gun.
Guilty, right? One could argue that they know what was going on with Diddy because they happened to be at a party, or they happened to be in the music business, or they happened to see him or one of the people that he worked with, and therefore they have information to share. And that wouldn't necessarily make them a potential co-defendant or also guilty. But I feel like anybody who's associated with Epstein, why would they be associated with Epstein if they're not themselves working with him on something? Like, why would a person be on Epstein's island unless they are a member of Epstein's family? Or, it just feels like anybody who was involved with Epstein would want to keep their mouths totally shut because they wouldn't have gotten access to information about Epstein Island unless they themselves were involved in a bad way.
I hope in the closing argument, I hope to nip it in the bud. I hope in the closing argument, they say, remove Cassie. Don't consider Cassie in the for nothing other than when she tried to leave. Okay, when she tried to leave at the hotel, he ran down the hall, grabbed her to bring her back to the freak off. All the other abuse, don't consider it. Just consider her trying to leave and him forcing her back. That's it. With Cassie. It's still the force. Don't look at the beating. Don't look at that. Look at, she was trying to leave. He ran and got her, and he forced her back. Period. There you go right there. That's one. Trafficking, the triple X trafficking. Don't consider her wanting it, liking it, enjoying it, okay with it. Look at the escorts who were male prostitutes that was paid for a service. They were paid for a service. And a couple of them went across state lines. That's it. Period. Forced labor. One girl said on a good day, she got 4 hours of sleep. That's 20 hours. She can get paid for overtime. On a bad day, she got 2. That's 22 hours. No breaks, no lunch, no none of that. Forced labor. Move that to the side. What else we got? Do I need cause only thing people keep bringing up as a deterrent of the charges is Cassie. Arson. He said that he was gonna blow his car up and he wanted his friends to see it. He was at the house and he said, are you at my house? And he said, I'm here. I just want to talk to you. You at my house. I'm waiting on you. The arson specialist or the detective, I don't know which one, the investigator, said that they ran the plates. He was there. Okay? So, the only thing that y'all keep bringing up that will be a doubt is Cassie. Because it's DV. DV is not an issue. We saw him. We saw her attempting to leave. He ran and got her. Forced her to come back. So people wanna just continue to grab on to, oh, they was in a relationship. Oh, she was just there for the money. Oh, but that don't have nothing to do with the charges that they brought up on. None. Just like the girl here, her emails and all of that type of stuff. And
prosecution and defense frames this issue.
And still communicate with him. That don't erase the fact that it was forced labor. She worked and didn't get paid. She's not up there because he SA'd her. Although it shows a pattern, it does shows a pattern. But her testimony primarily is for forced labor. And it comes with some extra. See this is why people, this is why it's alarming to me that my people complain about false imprisonment, or they in jail and I have a right and I ain't do nothing wrong. Yes, you did. Because you don't know the law, and it's easy to trip us up because we thinking here and they thinking there, and they thinking where the law gonna follow. So at the end, they're gonna have the judges gonna give instructions. He's gonna be found guilty in at least one or two of those categories, if not all three. Because that sex trafficking, her part in it is a co-conspirator. Not the 13 workers. Y'all missing it. Y'all missing it. She's a co-conspirator. Did she pick him? Did she call him? Yes, she did. She's a co-conspirator. She could say, I broke the law with Diddy because he told me to call him. He said, even when I didn't want to. Even when I didn't want to. I sure did. I felt like I had to call him. So I am wrong. She is a co-conspirator who is now a cooperating witness. I don't know how many times I keep trying to get the tea sippers to stay on point and not get lost in the sauce. She's a co-conspirator. So the jurors understand that. We the people act like we can't get it. She's a co-conspirator. So she should be up there with Diddy. She should. But she cooperated. And they're using her truth, including herself, to expose the racketeering and the Rico. Oh, they believe her? She put herself in it. She said, yeah, it was times I liked it. I was okay with it. I was okay with it. Until I didn't, and then I stopped wanting to be a part of it. So she put herself into breaking the law with Diddy. She didn't remove herself from nothing. She did it because she knew that was a way to please her man. She thought it was her man. She didn't realize that was her pimp. She never removed herself. She put herself in there. So you can't say she told the truth and said that, yes, I did. Yeah, I picked him. Yeah, he told me what he wanted done and I told it to them. I became the middleman. I got my directions and orders from him. And then when they came, I told them what we wanted. He gave me the money to pay for it. She didn't remove herself from that. She never did. She never did. I tried to tell y'all that they was lining Diddy's ass up. She was the co-conspirator who is now a cooperating witness. And if D-Rock or KK and all them other people, they gonna come tell the truth, They were co-conspirators who, if they come, they would then become a cooperating witness. So people saying Stevie J ain't gonna tell on Diddy. I don't think he is either. And if they hit his ass with being a co-conspirator, he going to jail. And if we let her finish, she talking about KK is a co-conspirator. And if she don't testify against him and become a cooperating witness, she's gonna be a co-conspirator. That's it, y'all. All that other stuff. So the jury knows this. That she going to jail if she doesn't want to tell on Diddy. Because you got 3 or 4 or 5 people who done tried to go to KK when things was getting out of hand, thinking that this is a corporation, this is a business, you know, this, that, and the other, and she betrays them and say, either I'm gonna talk to him and she don't, or would was that her who said Diddy will be Diddy? They went to HR thinking they were reporting it to HR, only for HR to go to him and he say suspend that ass. What I pay for trying to tell on me. So there's quite a few people that's in trouble. So that's why when I just showed y'all a while ago, when one of them attorneys was saying somebody sued the corporation, Diddy and the corporation, because there's all type of labor laws. If this is a legitimate business, they broke all type of labor laws. If it's a legitimate business. Yeah. So we could sit here and say the jury ain't gonna look at it like that. They know who are cooperating witnesses. Because if not, so people keep saying, why is Diddy only one being brought up on charges? Because they want Diddy and they want the people who was a part of the enterprise to tell their part. And if we catch you in a lie, then our deals are off. And you would then go back to being a co-conspirator. What's his name? If he ain't dead, J-Rock, he gonna have to talk. Polly, he gonna have to talk or he gonna go to jail. KK. Yeah, so it ain't about, everybody want to make it be about Cassie. I tried to tell y'all going a week 2 that it ain't about Cassie. Cassie's the co-conspirator, what she was. You gotta think on point. So how many times she liked it, how many times she did it, you know, she was okay with it. Okay, she said she was. And then she said she wasn't okay with it anymore. And he forced her. And if that was her job, then he forced her to work. It was an illegal job. He wasn't helping her with no music. So that was her job. The problem is the escorts.
And like, just because you were associated with Diddy or just because you went to a Diddy party doesn't mean you were part of an illegal freak-off or racketeering activity. Sure. And the same thing with Epstein. By the way, I think the other comparison is, how is it that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of these sex trafficking charges when the major question is she was the only one charged? Who was she sex trafficking these minor victims to, right? Where are those people, right? And so the question is, how is Sean Combs being charged with racketeering conspiracy? You have to have an agreement with others and use the resources in your associates, and yet he's the only one charged, which is why sometimes these assistants are being questioned. Well, did you take immunity? Did you get a proffer agreement? Okay, Tyler, got another question from Shop Girl. Could you please explain to me it only takes one juror thing? Is that to convict him or acquit?
That's a good question. So you need a unanimous jury verdict for there to be a conviction. So it only takes one. You can have one juror who just will not side with the remaining jurors, and that's not enough jurors to get a conviction. You can have a jury that's at deadlock. You can have like a 4-8, 4 who want to convict and 4 who are for acquitting the defendant. If that happens, then there's a mistrial can be declared. So sometimes people think you got to win all 12 jurors. You really just need one. You need one juror on the side of the defense who maybe is not sold on the government's case for convicting the defendant. And if that's the case, then you can't get a unanimous jury verdict to convict the defendant.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And that's why you don't know what this case would look like. And let me ask you this, Serena. If it was a hung jury, do you think they retry him?
It's a great question. And you have to think of that strategy, because every single time there is a mistrial or a hung jury, a prosecution has to make that decision. And it is not an easy decision to make. Do I think they retry him? I mean, if it weren't Diddy, maybe not. The amount of resources that they have to accumulate and the amount of time and money that has been spent on this case is astronomical. Mm-hmm. It'll depend on their appetite. Sometimes after a mistrial, they try, they kind of regroup, they go back and they say, well, what went wrong, and care next time. And then if it feels like a lost cause, or if it feels not worth it, they might end up offering him a more attractive plea deal than he was offered before this trial. So we'll see, but I do think that they want to see a conviction one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good question for you, Tyler. This is from Michelle LaBelle. Why hasn't Sean Combs' assistant Christina, why hasn't Sean Combs' assistant Christina Quorum hasn't been charged? I mean, she came up in testimony today trying to get a hold of Mia. She's a key figure in this, in the sense that her name has come up a lot in litigation. Her name has come up quite a few times during the course of this trial. I don't know if she's going to testify. I guess the question is, why hasn't she been charged? I mean, do you think there's an evidence that she's a co-conspirator?
Seems like she may be a co-conspirator, and she could still be charged. And my understanding is this is a superseding indictment, meaning there could be additional defendants who are later added to this case. She could be cooperating with the government. Maybe she testifies for the government, and then she's not criminally charged later. She could have entered into a proffer agreement. We just still don't know the extent of the role that she has with the government's case. But there's definitely a possibility that she could be criminally charged if she was actually helping further the crimes that Mr. Combs had committed.
Okay, so we have an update in court. They're back, but I don't believe the jury is in yet. The judge said, Ms. Smizer, anything? So referring to the prosecutor here, Ms. Smizer says, They just gave us a video they say they intend to use in violation of the court's order. The judge asks Mr. Steele, referring to Brian Steele, Sean Combs' defense counsel. Steele responds, it's a very short video, a happy birthday to Mr. Combs in 2014. It shows her demeanor. So, Serena, it seems that they're complaining it's a surprise attack. You're going to be trying to impeach her credibility with a video that you didn't mention before. Am I understanding it correctly? And will it be allowed in?
Right. Yes, you're understanding it correctly. And of course, a defense is going to say we're entitled to know everything. Both sides are going to obviously want to say that. We're entitled to know everything that you're going to do before you do it. But sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Sometimes you can say, look, we didn't know what this witness was going to testify about. And the extent to which that they were going to say things that we were able to contradict. We didn't know that this piece of evidence was going to be usable to us as an inconsistent statement. And only after they testified did we become aware of that. And so there will probably be some outside of the jury presence litigation about whether something like this would be able to come in. And a judge is going to make an assessment about, whether it's too prejudicial to let in at this point or whether there's enough time to analyze it and have a fair back and forth.
We'll get an update any second now on what was happening in this video. We got a question from, actually, I have an update right now. The judge says, It's cumulative. Why wasn't it turned over earlier? Steele says, I only got it last night. It's video and audio. The court should know I gave over impeachment days ago. I don't do that. I know the court doesn't know me. How long? 8 seconds. So before we get a response from court, you think it's going to be allowed in, Tyler?
I think it gets in. It's impeachment evidence, and I think Mr. Steele did raise a good point. He pro hoc visaed into this jurisdiction here. The court doesn't know him. He's probably not going to be trying to play fast and loose. I don't know him to play fast and loose, but when you're an out-of-state lawyer, you really need to dot all your I's and cross your T's. Sure. But this does appear to be impeachment evidence. And one thing I was going to add, Jesse, is I'm surprised that the prosecution, if they knew the extent of all the communication that Mia had with Mr. Combs, that they did not get ahead of this on their direct examination and outright tell the jury then. Well, didn't you have communications with her, Mr. Combs, before this, so they could kind of steal the thunder from the defense, because they're landing some big blows here, and this video is probably going to be bad for the prosecution.
So a couple of things. First of all, this is a live shot of Diddy's family exiting the courtroom right now. We'll see who else comes in or leaves. They did try to get in front of it a little bit. They did ask her a little bit of some messages that she had sent. So I think they anticipated some of this coming in, and obviously her credibility going to be a key factor for the defense. But let me just go to another question that we have coming in here. And I'll throw this to you, Serena. This is a question from Rel. Does the government have to show the jury a pyramid of who's involved? Imagine if it was a classic racketeering case, like a mafia case, you got the Don and the associates, maybe, but you think they need to show a pyramid of who's involved here for racketeering conspiracy?
I do think that it would illustrate things nice and clearly for a jury if they do, particularly because only Diddy, as we've mentioned before, is being charged. So the actual hierarchy may not necessarily matter in this particular case, since it's only Diddy. But at the same time, again, you really want to
no, they're not.
as clear as possible to
he getting.
jury.
Oh, am I behind? Oh, they may be.
The power lies, and actually, it would probably be a pretty influential thing to do, to have Diddy all the way at the top, right? To show him as the one in power over all of these people, if they were to show it that way.
Well, one thing is for sure.
So we have an update. The prosecutor said, no, it's not 8 seconds. It's 20 seconds, this parent video. They gave us the exhibits before and after this one, 1749 and 1751. I don't know why they withheld this one. Judge says, I don't understand what you just said. When did you decide to use it? Brian Steele says yesterday. The judge says 1750 is excluded, so it doesn't.
Yay!
He's going to come in.
Because you knew yesterday.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Are there any minors involved? No.
Because you knew yesterday and you didn't say nothing.
There was testimony, I believe, earlier this week, or was it last week? It might have been from last week. I think it might have been last week when I believe it was Kerry Morgan was talking about Gina, alleged victim number 3. Possibly not going to testify.
It's not 3 hours.
Allegedly cheating on Cassie with Gina, and she referred to her in her testimony as a little girl.
What time is it?
They came out and said, "Wait,
okay, hold on.
You're not. She's not a minor. She's an adult. She's an adult woman, right? That's clear, right? This is not about minors. If this was about minors, this would be a radically different case, right, Tyler?
Oh, it will be a completely different case.
Yeah, they tried it. They tried it.
What does it feel like to step into the Athens 2? Kinda like revolutionary cage tech.
They absolutely tried it. Hold on, y'all. They tried it. Hold on. Yeah. They knew yesterday and didn't say nothing. Okay, so that was it.
Y'all, the jury should be ashamed. I was live in the courtroom. The jury should be ashamed. Listen, I know everybody's talking about the juror in the middle and the way that there's issues and the way it looks like she's pro Diddy, but after what I saw in the courtroom, I am telling y'all, there are bigger problems. And it was actually weird.
Yes, it was.
It was actually gross. Brian still, I'm not gonna lie, on two things. He did his job as a defense.
He did.
One, he is gross and morally bankrupt, and he should really be ashamed about the way. The jury should be ashamed. The prosecution has a problem with Mia. Mia's testimony yesterday had everybody. Hold on, let me go. Mia's testimony yesterday had everybody in a chokehold. However, hold on, I'm trying to get this together. But from what we saw today, Mia has lost the jury. Again, Mia has lost the jury. Brian still has them, but it was still disturbing behavior. I'm surprised the judge didn't tell the jury to knock it off and pay attention. So what was the finesse, right? Oh, can't get that. So what was the finesse, okay? Brian still did a legal finesse. He asked could there be binders passed around. Now, first of all, as the prosecutors, I would have been like, hell no. I don't care if it's a scrapbook. I don't care if it's Instagram feed. I don't care if it's whatever. No, you can't pass nothing around and have the jury going with it, okay? He pulled up a bunch of Instagram posts, right? To which I was sitting there saying, well, what is his proof? Because everybody knows that Instagram is fake. And I was sitting there while he was going through it saying, who in the world could be possibly buying this? Do you know who was buying it? The jury. Do you know who was eating it up? The jury. Do you know who was laughing in the face of someone that said that they are a special, a sprite? Do you know who was laughing in the face of somebody that is saying that they were guilty of, well, a victim of SA? I'll tell you who. The jury. Diddy's jury is a problem. But you know what? All good things come. I will always say this, right? You believe in the goodness of everyone, but when somebody shows you who they are, you need to believe them. And you guys, and you know I've got the notes. We need to believe the jury. The jury has exposed who is pro-Diddy. The jury has exposed who the prosecution needs to. And it's more than that girl in the middle row. I counted at the very least 7 people laughing, joking, smirking, and literally enjoying Brian Steele ripping apart Mia on the stand. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had to believe it was a bloodbath. I get what he was doing. But they are the victim of SA to a powerful person that controls their whole life and is around everybody. It makes sense that she was trying to keep the peace. Are you going to go with Warren Buffett? Are you going to go against Jeff Bezos? Are you going to go against Diddy that if you were trying to make it in music, fashion, and especially urban, he is the person? Of course you're not going to go against them. So the fact that they are out here acting like it is so unreasonable, talking about why, if he grapes you, what you say? Well, I don't know. Why if he was beating Cassie but she stayed? Why if he was running around threatening people? Would anybody, like, it doesn't make sense.
All of them did.
But listen, he did, from a defense point, what needed to be done. Was it vile? Was it gross? Was it disgusting? Absolutely. But I expect that from a defense attorney. He, at one point, and the funny thing is, Mia, I don't want to pass judgment, but he literally at one point said, are you a weak person? And she's like, well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I am. I wanted her to stand up tall. And he was like, well, why would you keep looking for somebody that is? I would have literally shot back. But why in the world would you not at all? Why are you representing a rapist? She could have shot somebody. And it was relentless.
Because he getting paid $1 million?
Defense. The way the jury reacted. Because that's the thing that surprised me. It let me know that as much as the prosecution is doing a great job of building a Rico's case, as much as they're doing a great job of actually building up the coercion and the force, it let me know that their biggest hurdle is getting over people's minds over what SA is, over what being a victim is. Okay? Let's get right into the jury.
Girl, you need to understand.
Disgusting today.
You need to understand that to acknowledge what SA is, that means a lot of people would have to admit that they are SA abusers. Because a lot of people don't think no means no. So to think that a lot of people are going to say, oh yeah, they're only going to see SA for what it is when it affects them or their family. Period. And the reality of it is that man getting paid $1 million. So, but Mia never said no. no, she may not have said no, but she said she was trying to make excuses and trying to get out of it, and was trying to say, oh, no, yeah, no. I mean, you know, people will allow somebody to dangle a carrot over your head. And I don't know, they promise to make you a part of their business and they don't make it happen. Do you still keep running after dream after dream after dream after dream? He sold everybody on their own dream. Everybody. Everybody. And at what point do you say, oh, no, forget that? They don't get to that point until, I don't know. What made her leave? I don't even know what made her leave. Well, you know, I think Cassie left because I think she think he had something to do with Kim Porter. It wasn't just about Gina. Hell, she had got pictures of her and him someplace else before. Baby, I know you knew you was not his girlfriend at some point. Your homeboys and homegirls and everybody trying to get you to meet other people. So I don't necessarily believe it was because of Gina. I do think a light bulb came on and she think about other people disappearing, dying all of a sudden. And that was it. That made that easy. So, but Brian Steele, he got to do something for $1 million. At this part, I ain't shocked because everybody has interacted with him after he done SA and beat him. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Capricorn, her story, it was good. I believe her. But she came back too. I just do not believe that that's the only job that paid you $50,000, $65,000 and you work 24/7. Baby, the math ain't mathing. Cause at 8 hours and 1 minute, I'm out. I'm out. So
7 members of the jury were disgusting. They were openly rooting for Brian Steele. They were openly laughing and smirking. They were openly making a mockery of this woman's proposed pain. Now, I get it. You can always make the argument with looking at the jury that they just don't buy what she's selling. All right, that's fine. But there must be a certain decorum, and I'm surprised the judge didn't get involved and tell the jury to settle down.
No.
Through the jury.
If it was funny, it was funny.
Okay? So if you guys don't know, there's 3 worlds, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 6. 6, 6, 6. They go like steps, okay?
Danger girl.
Now, I've heard from my sources that the top row are the alternates. What does that mean? They see, they listen, they are completely involved. But when it comes to voting, whether Diddy goes to jail for life, they don't get a vote. Now, one of those juries mess up, you get what I'm saying. Mashed Potato said Trump says he may consider a pardon if reviewed. Man, this day is getting worse and worse.
Yeah,
the pressure is getting
worse.
I hope that it's just a myth and an urban rumor. Victoria, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so listen. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. The third word we really don't need to pay much mind to, but I will say this, the person on the third row has the most sense. There's a girl on the second row. So from the left, right, there is a man, another man, a woman, a man, and then another woman. The girl in the middle row, from the beginning, she's been on some BS. She's been smirking, she's been laughing. Every single time, I believe it was in week 2. At one point, she turned around and tapped her person next to her and said, she's lying to the witness. witness. This is in the middle of a witness testifying. So she's been on some BS, right? But
girl, it's still 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks.
There was a guy in the front row. He's all the way over to the left. He literally, when Brian Still was like, why would you continue working with somebody that raped you? I don't know. Let's look at all of the sexual assault cases that actually happened. He literally raised his eye and smirked. Mia couldn't answer the question. He put his pen down and was like, and scoffed. The girl next to him started moving her chair around like it was Christmas, looking, but she was salivating. She was enjoying Brian Still ripping her apart. And every single time that Brian Still would dunk on the witness, she would turn around and nod her head like, yeah, that's right. When I say I was looking for like, I literally was sitting there like, Ref, do something. The judge was not paying attention, okay? We go 2 people down. There was 2 guys sitting there laughing while she was telling what happened to her. We jump back to the second row. The one girl with the ponytail that everybody says is a problem, the guy next to her, they were sitting there smirking like, yep. She literally mouthed it to the guy next to her, I told you. And he's nodding along. If it had to be a retrial, let it be a retrial. He's still going to prison. And I wish the judge would have gotten control
and
of
there's no way around the guns.
Good. Those lawyers
you can't fix the guns.
What needed to be done.
That's a separate charge.
It's like they need to get another expert witness on. They need to talk about what happened, okay? Also, Ty Cindy, thank you so much.
It's still, what, 4 more weeks?
Calm down. Listen. Oh my God, Mashed Potato says, this is not a rumor. It's all over the news. Check it out. Can y'all let me know a 1 in the chat if Trump did say that he's going to consider pardoning?
Yeah, he said it.
He did? Okay, so we have Dennis Byron over here literally saying that, and Ung's Blue, thank you so much for the super chat, that Trump says that he is considering pardoning Diddy. You guys, you know the funny thing is, that
he's an SA
that
too.
Diddy's so innocent and Diddy needs this and that. Tell me someone that's so innocent that the only way you can live is by bullying, harassing, suppressing evidence, and the President of the United States has to get involved to actually see if you are going to be pardoned. Rosie Methodist said, be safe, sending hugs and prayers. Y'all, listen. Tammy Payton, thank you so much for your super chat. I want to know who voted for the person that talked about he going to charge and Diddy. Show yourself in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. If you think Trump said this, and if you voted for him, you need to answer for your brethren. Who said that? Look, they coming for Diddy's career. That was the ambulance for Diddy's career. Okay, let's get into it. No, so what's the good news, right? They're going to get Diddy on something. And because he uses business with everything, they have him debt rights with federal forfeiture. So if he does have to rebuild, he will have to rebuild from nothing. But that's not enough because we need Diddy away. I really do think this is something along the Al Capone, the way that Al Capone had blood all over the Chicago streets. However, they got him for tax fraud. I do believe, from talking to a lot of people, Diddy got blood all over the New York streets. However, they are going to get him for the sex trafficking and for the Rico. However, Mia was the problem. Brian Still completely discredited her testimony. It was actually embarrassing. I'm standing right here. If the family comes out, I'll just duck out the way and y'all can get the scene, right? So don't worry, y'all. Y'all go get the perfect scene. And actually, I think they picked them up in the middle of the street over there. So we'll be good, okay? Let's get into the bloodbath that was Mia's testimony. Again,
she's not the only person. There's still more witnesses coming, so I don't know why.
I'm really sick. Even Brian, Mia texted, oh my God, this is so sad. I want to delete myself. And he was like he was even making light of that. People really need to be educated about mental health, and they need to be educated about SA, and they need to be educated about power dynamics, okay? Now, are you taping? Okay, he needs to be, say hi. Mr. Brian.
Hey, everybody. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Y'all, get a load of this guy. Y'all know that guy. Listen, so Open Book said, great work, T said, thank you. And also, hold on, CR said, Trump said he hasn't actually been watching the trial. He doesn't know the details. The fact that Trump is talking anything about the Diddy trial is not good. And let me tell you something. I know Trump's finesse. yes. Every single time he says he doesn't know, that means he gonna play stupid. The people that
Oh
told
yeah,
me
Kanye went and talked to him the other day.
Crispy everywhere said that Diddy react when the jurors acted out. Yes, Diddy was up. He was happy. So Diddy's family, it was one guy, I think it's an uncle.
This is the first real win. That's okay. That's still
She looks good.
4 more weeks, 3 more weeks.
Smirking, but she raised that mofo. Then it was Christian, Quincy, Justin. They kept switching sides, right?
What time I started?
And they were all like, when Mia was being ripped off, they were giving each other pounds. They were feeling good, okay? Listen, Aminofa said, Trump said he would look at the facts. This is a shame. Jolie Party said, never Trump. Monsters support. Monsters are supporting monsters. How could Trump actually pardon Diddy when he said that he was going to make a SA task force? So I'm very, very confused how this will happen. Big Kitty said, you're doing amazing work, light worker. Protect your energy and continue being you. The haters of dark forces trying to dim your light. Don't let them actions take your making the world a better place.
Y'all hit the like button. I'm having to hold this thing. My likes ain't went up. I ain't got no cash app, no super chat, super stickers, no gifts. I'm finna put this down.
Listen, it's hold on. I'm gonna leave it right here because the clones, the baby oil bandits are about to exit.
The baby oil bandits.
They passed around an effing scrapbook, right? They were just like, ooh, look at this, as if that's proof that he didn't do anything to her. Do you know how easy it is to make a scrapbook?
Well, the prosecutors need to make one.
Try to finesse their rich boss that owes their power, right? Diddy's family was nodding along. You guys, I'm not gonna lie. Diddy was happy, and it was an absolute.
It's their first one. Get over it. They need to step their game up. They need to get their own scrapbook.
Bloodbath. It was.
I don't have no problem with that.
Listen, people are telling you should be on TMZ. Stay independent. Never let a corporation take your authentic voice. Your sunshine on a cloudy day. Yes, but this sunshine on a cloudy day might be a correspondent. I might go to a panel and speak my truth. Anyway, right? Diddy was super happy. It was a bloodbath, right? Brian still was ripping Mia apart. The weird thing is, I kept saying in my notes, who the F prepped Mia? Because how hard is it to articulate? But then it started clicking. Because let me tell you something. Diddy had a certain personality profile that he kept under his thumb. The same way Cassie was not the strongest when she was with him. He kept people that had family issues, that wanted to be known, that did whatever. SB said, do you think Diddy has something on Trump? That's why he's getting involved. Love you tons. We need you on TV.
Oh, he been at that house.
Still looking to this Trump thing. Trump better not partner Diddy, because I might have to move out the country. Anyway, great gig in his eyes. And I hope when you back in, those 2 jurors are booted and alternates get moved to their seats. Here's the thing. I talked to a few jury experts. They said it's perfectly legal for them to do that. Tori, thank you so much.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right? Listen, what facts do you need to look into the case? The fact that the fact that he's even saying that. Oh, Potent Pondering said, Trump said if he's treated unfairly, not definite. Are there still people that think that Diddy didn't do it? You realize that everything Diddy said, his whole defense is I did it, but it's not a crime. That's his whole defense. He's saying, listen, Trump just addressed the pardon. It is what it is. Let's just keep getting into
Early
that.
on.
We get more information, we will talk about it, but let's get into what it is, right? He said, no one thinks it was
Oh,
wrong.
yeah,
Why did he need some? He said, why? She said that I was around people. This is Mia. She said I was around people and they normalized the behavior. She said, why did you need someone to tell you it was wrong?
This just one though. He ain't did that, but with one person.
Tell you it was wrong.
No, he ain't the GOAT. That didn't win.
Why do you need somebody to tell you it's wrong?
This is just one day.
Why do you think it's someone to tell you it's wrong?
He went at
Brian, why do you do half the things you do? Right?
And listen.
She said I'm a rule following.
What did she expect? She thought I did not expect Diddy's attorney to go at her like she a victim. I didn't expect that. He not being paid to go at her all friendly. That's not his job. So I don't expect that. Her expectations is her expectations. And just because he tripped her up don't mean that what he did ain't true. It don't mean that. So her expectations, and he didn't do nothing special. He was just bold enough to ask those tough questions. That's what he getting paid millions of dollars to do. He better do it. And even if he didn't want to, we all know that Diddy said, do it. Now let's be realistic. That's why he have people do certain things, right? So that it can remove his hands off of it and keep their hands on it. That's a part of playing with their mind. She said that they were like friends. One minute he's your best friend, next minute he ain't. So she think that's a family. I don't know why folk don't realize it. Well, hell, a lot of them didn't realize they was being pimped. Capricorn didn't either. That's what predators do. So I don't understand why she thought that every day it was gonna be perfect for the feds. I didn't think that. I didn't think that. So they've been losing every day, so they had to come up with something. No big deal. How many more weeks they got? How many more people they got? Yeah, but him asking her, are you weak? Diddy told him, she weak. You can break her. They got, 3 to 4 more weeks, baby. And they got more people coming. Diddy knew she was weak. But let me tell you this. This is why I got 2 more minutes. But this is what I want to say. This is the problem for me. And I've been waiting to hear it. So am I surprised that they got her? If I'm going to be honest, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because she is the one that more things was done to that was very traumatic. And I'm wondering, well, I'm not saying she weak. Stop. I'm not saying she weak. But what I am saying is there was more done to her that she ain't gave them permission to talk about. See, I've been waiting on it. I thought it was Capricorn. And I said, I'm surprised she didn't bring up about what happened in the UK. And he took her passport. And so she made mention that it's Mia and not Capricorn. So that means that in my mind, I'm thinking that if the feds don't bring it up, Diddy gonna bring it up. That was what I was thinking. See, he gonna ask, well, since they didn't bring it up, asked her on a sticky, did she let them run a train on her or something in that regards? Since she didn't bring it up, I felt like Diddy was gonna bring it up. And then they was gonna say, well, why you didn't tell us that you da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what I was expecting. Because she's the one. Because they mentioned he held a passport. But I'll be back later, y'all. I gotta go. I'm 4 hours in. I gotta go. I'll be back.